me take this opportunity to welcome you to this port of entry, Oshoek port of entry. My name is Mkhuliseni Elijah Rubengo. I am the Assistant Commissioner in the Office of the Commissioner, BMA. I will be assisting to facilitate this program. Perhaps before we talk about the program itself, let me deal with the formalities of indicating that in the event that we need to assist ourselves, the ablution facilities are on the right of this, obviously my right. And we have taken also a conscious decision that we will not necessarily have mid-morning tea, as they refer to it, like that. We will ensure that if you feel like you want to assist yourself, there is obviously a stall that has been put outside. You can just go out and grab something and come back. So the other thing that is obviously an obvious thing is that, and you might have done that already, in order to avoid a situation where the principal is speaking or whoever will be speaking is speaking, let us ensure that we don't disturb him or her. Let us ensure that our walkie-talkies are on silence or they are switched off altogether. We will have lunch, but we will then make that determination at around 12 of whether or not we need to start with lunch or we do the walkabout. So in terms of the program, we are going to be, as I indicated, welcomed by the municipality, that is the municipality of obviously Chief Albert Lutuli. The MMC will be doing that or rendering that item. We will also request the commissioner to obviously come to the podium and provide some opening remarks. He will also take that opportunity to obviously indicate to us the purpose of this campaign. He will also introduce the principals who are amongst us. We will request the head of the SIU in his capacity of as the chair of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum to obviously come to give us some keynote address. Unfortunately, in terms of for item number 5, we were not able to get colleagues from the Hawks to come and give us some remarks. We will then have someone from NPA that I will introduce when we come to that part. So that part where we talk about Hawks perspective, it will be NPA. And we will then allow some parts to come and give us some remarks in as far as the challenges that they're experiencing at that space is concerned, the issue of wildlife, obviously crimes, including the poaching thereof. We will then request a colleague of ours from SARS to come and render an item around combating customs and custom fraud as well as corruption. And obviously the critical part, as I usually say, will be an item that is going to be introduced by Ntate Nkosi, introducing the 3 inmates that we have, and then I will give him that opportunity to do that. And then there will be obviously a message of support from the 4 organized labor. We will be giving them 10 minutes each, and then I will introduce them when the time allows. And then there are also colleagues from our SIU, the counterparts of SIU from across the border. We will request them to come and give us some message of support. That is the colleagues from Eswatini Anti-Corruption Commission. And there are obviously other entities that are always there for us, who assist us with whatever we want, given the challenges that we have in as far as resources is concerned. That is Old Mutual. They are the one who assisted us with the stage that I'm standing on, including the sound system. Will allow them to come and give us a message of support, and then they will also reflect on some of the other things. We will request then colleagues to come to the fore here and sign a pledge. Our colleagues from communications will help us with that kind of arrangement. I think with that particular item, we will only take 20 minutes or so we will request as the last item, in as far as what we are going to have here in the marquee is concerned, an item that will be rendered by the Director General of Department of Home Affairs, where he will be thanking us and then also providing a summary of the takeaways as well as what we'll regard as the way forward from here. So those are the formalities that we are going to have in this marquee. As I indicated, depending on whether the lunch will be ready by then, we will ensure that we then go to the vulnerable segments. Yesterday we saw 2 of them. There is one on the other side and next to the port, and obviously there is another one that is very much interesting. We are going to see that as well. And it will also ensure that we go to the port. So meaning that when time allows, depending on whether we are starting with the lunch or not, we will start at the port and then we will go to the vulnerable segment on that side, and then we will then have to use our cars to travel this side. So that is how the program looks like. And without any, obviously, waste of time, let me request the MMC, that is MMC Nkosi, SP Nkosi, in her capacity as the acting mayor of Chief Albert Luthuli local municipality to welcome us to her, obviously, area.
No, thank you so much, Program Director, Dr. Libengo. I am Councillor Simpiwe Nkosi, the MMC responsible for planning and economic development in Chief Albert Luthuli, standing in for the Honorable Executive Mayor, that is Councillor Mbuso Makubane, who is not part of this gathering today due to competing tasks. He has rendered his sincere apology, Commissioner, for not being part of this meeting. But it is not a train smash. I'll be looking at you guys with his eyes, and I'll also be speaking with his voice. So, Program Director, I'm Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, the acting head of the SIU, and chairperson of the BMIACF, representatives from the Department of Home Affairs, reps from the NPA, SARS, SANDF, SANPAC, Correctional Services and Corruption Unit, Watch, reps of organized labor and all government stakeholders present here today, traditional leaders, political leadership, and also business stakeholders, members of the media, trade unions, representatives, our offenders, and distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. It is such a pleasure to have you all here with us today. On behalf of the Chief Albert Luthuli Municipality, I want to give you a very warm welcome. Welcome to the Oshoek Border Port as we come together for this important border management and immigration anti-corruption forum campaign. Thank you so much for being part of this. We feel greatly honored that this significant engagement is taking place within our municipality at one of the country's strategic port of entry, where critical conversations and integrity, accountability, border security, and good governance are being advanced. Allow me to extend our sincere appreciation to the Border Management Authority, the Special Investigating Unit, the Department of Home Affairs, and all partners for convening this important program and for recognizing Oshoek Border Port as the important site in advancing the fight against fraud and corruption in the border and immigration sector. Ladies and gentlemen, today's engagement could not have come at a better time across the world. Corruption continues to threaten economic growth, weakens institutions, and undermine public trust. It is the border management environment. Corruption creates opportunities for illicit trade, smuggling, trafficking, fraud, illegal immigration, and environmental crimes, all of which negatively affect the economy and safety of our communities. It is therefore encouraging that today's program is centered around the important theme of multi-stakeholders approach in combating fraud and corruption in border and immigration sector. This theme reminds us that fighting corruption cannot be left to one institution alone. It requires collaboration, partnership, and united commitment from all sectors of society. Government institutions, law enforcement agencies, labor formations, communities, and ordinary citizens all have a role to play in protecting the integrity of our borders and institutions. Program Director, the Oshoek border post holds strategic importance not only to South Africa but specifically to the Chief Albert Luthuli local municipality as one of the busiest border crossings connecting South Africa to the Kingdom of Eswatini. Oshoek serves as an important gateway for trade, tourism, transport, regional integration, and economic activity. Every day, thousands of people, goods, and services move through this border, making it a major contributor to economic activity within our municipality and the broader province. The movement facilitated through this border post supports local businesses, retail establishments, accommodations facilities, transport operators, fuel stations, informal traders, and logistics companies. It contributes significantly towards the local economic growth and creates opportunities for the employment and investment. Beyond economics, Oshoek also carries major importance for national and community safety. A well-managed border strengthens national security and assists in combating criminal activities such as smuggling, illicit trade, trafficking of illegal goods, organized crime, and corruption. When corruption finds space to flourish, it weakens systems, destroys public confidence, and compromises development. It diverts resources meant for service delivery to our people and economic advancement, while creating unfair advantages for criminal networks at the expense of honest citizens. For this reason, we firmly believe that a safe, transparent, and corruption-free border environment is fundamental to the growth and prosperity of our municipality. When Oshoek operates effectively and with integrity, our communities benefit socially and economically. As a municipality, we remain committed to supporting all initiatives that promote ethical leadership, accountability, transparency, and good governance. We believe strongly that building a capable and developmental state starts with protecting institutions and ensuring that public service remains rooted in honesty and professionalism. We are particularly encouraged to see institutions such as Border Management Authority, the SIU, unfortunately Hawks are not with us today, SARS, SANDF, SANPACS, and organized labor representatives present here today. This demonstrates government collective determination of strengthening systems, close corruption loopholes, and build safer borders. To all delegates and participants gathered here today, I encourage you to engage openly, constructively throughout the program. Let us use this opportunity to share ideas, strengthen partnership, and find sustainable solutions to the challenges confronting border management and anti-corruption efforts. Let this gathering not mainly be a discussion platform, but rather a turning point towards stronger cooperation, greater accountability, and practical interventions that will safeguard the integrity of our borders. To our guests visiting from outside the municipality, I extend a warm welcome to the Chief Albert Luthuli local municipality. We trust that your stay here will be productive, meaningful, and memorable. In conclusion, allow me to reaffirm our municipality's full support for this campaign and all efforts aimed at combating fraud and corruption. Together, we can build institutions that our people trust, systems that are transparent, and borders that are secure and corruption-free. As we continue working together, let us remember that the fight against corruption begins with each and every one of us through ethical conduct, accountability, and unwavering commitment to doing what is right. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Councillor Nkosi. We really feel welcome. I do know that there will be a reflection by either the Commissioner and the head of SIU in terms of the importance of coordinating the work that we do at the border, but we also reflected on that. We really appreciate that. Without any obviously waste of time, let us allow the Commissioner for Border Management Authority, that is Dr. Mike Masiapato, to come and render the next item. That is the item on the obviously opening remarks, now that we have been welcome, as well as putting across to us the purpose of this particular campaign. And obviously we'll also take the opportunity to introduce his colleagues. The Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Let me start by appreciating this opportunity given by the program director, Dr. Elijah Luvengo. So colleagues, let me also appreciate the welcome into the municipality by Councillor Nkosi. Madam Simpiwe, we really appreciate the welcome. We also appreciate colleagues in our midst, the presence of the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, Ndate Tommy Makode. He is our overall chief as we are gathered here today. We also are very much glad that the acting head of the Special Investigating Unit, as well as the chairperson of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, that Leonard Lekheto, is here. We really appreciate his presence in this conversation. We are also very much glad, colleagues, that we have also been graced by our very special neighbor, Undate Jabu Pakati from Eswatini Anti-Corruption Platform or Forum that side. We are very much glad that we are able to collaborate with our immediate neighborhood to make sure that we are able to work together, even in fighting the scourge of corruption ultimately. We are also very much appreciative of the presence of Advocate Maponya from the National Prosecuting Authority. These are the colleagues that assist those among us who malfunction to go and wear some strategic overalls. So they are going to be assisting us to understand how they do that. And I don't think any of us here would want to be their client, except for those that are already in that particular platform. Let's also appreciate colleagues, the team from the Department of Correctional Services, led by Ndate Nkosi, and of course the rest of the team members from corrections. And we are very much glad that with Commissioner Tobagala even agreed that indeed they bring some of our former colleagues to come and share with us how is it on the other side of life. And I suppose those that are not on that side will be able to learn a lesson or two in the ecosystem. Very much glad that we have some representatives from the provincial government of Mpumalanga in our midst. Very much appreciated. The rest of the colleagues from the rest of the ecosystem in the border management space, whether it's SAPS, it's SARS, the Defense Force, SENPACS, as well as Corruption Watch, which I understand is also part of the conversation. Traditional leaders that are here, we are really very much glad. You are a very strategic stakeholder in this particular environment. We also want to appreciate our colleagues that the General describes as the social partners. These are colleagues from organized labor. We do have very top leadership here from NEHAU, from Public Servants Association, from SAPU, from POPCRU, And on that basis, they will actually be also delivering some message of support, I suppose as part of a commitment to demonstrate that they are not intending to also have members that are actually to be found on the other side of the ecosystem. So on that basis, let's also appreciate the rest of the colleagues that are actually deployed and working here within the Oshoek port of entry. The only unfortunate issue is that even when we have sessions of this nature, we do not have the luxury of closing the port and getting all the officials to come to the assembly. As we are speaking, some of the colleagues are busy doing the work on the other side because the port is alive and well, and on that basis there has to be some bit of activities that side. We also want to appreciate our colleagues from the SABC who are here with us. You are highly, highly appreciated. So on that basis, the last statement here says, ladies and gentlemen. So if you were not covered in terms of the description, there is no way you can be missed in this particular one, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the essence. Colleagues, I've been given very simple task. The first task was to give the opening remarks, and on that basis, I will say that I have opened. So on that part, I am done. Then the second part is to talk about the purpose in as far as this particular forum is concerned. And I want to put it this way, colleagues. When we started, I will say, as the Border Management Authority on the 1st of April in 2023, I think the colleagues are aware of the process that has to unfold or that had to take place. And that process was about the integration of a multiplicity of staff complement that came from various government enterprises, and they had to be integrated into the Border Management Authority. And I think we are fairly aware there that we talk about over 1,200 immigration officers that came on board. We talk about over 380 agricultural biosecurity specialists that came on board. We talk about around 370 I would say port health team members that came into the ecosystem, and we talk about just below 20 environmental biosecurity colleagues that came on the ecosystem. So one of the issues that I was briefed about, even as we started the work in 2023, was the fact that there is something that is called corruption, which has been described by the highly educated people as very much inherent in the port environment. And on that basis, we then took a conscious decision that we would want to at least change that particular narrative, but also change that particular ecosystem in as far as the description that everybody that works in the port or in the border is corrupt, and the general description that has been given some very strategic bad name in as far as the work that is being done in the ecosystem. But one thing that we also observed at the same time is that you can do every other thing that you want to do in whatever way that you want to do. If you have 10 officials in a particular environment and you have 8 officials that are highly committed, that are doing the best that they can, that understand the principle of patriotism, that establishes the protocol of integrity, the people that are doing their best in protecting the country's national interests, the people that are doing their best in understanding the imperatives of national security in the ecosystem, the people that understand that working in the border is not just one of those administrative functions, but it is a responsibility that seeks to ensure the protection of the country's integrity, but also ensuring that the authority of the state is effectively discharged. If out of 10 you have 8 that understand that, but if you have 2 that do not understand that and they therefore do some corrupt activities, unfortunately, when the labeling of everybody being corrupt in the port environment is being unleashed, all the 8 are going to be embroiled in that particular articulation. And I suppose the reason for that is the fact that actually says, when something sounds very much negative, it at least has a bit of a lot of feathers, in as much as something that might be very much grounded and very much stable has almost the description of being an orphan. So it is for that reason that we had to say, we need to start doing things differently. What then happened, colleagues, after we started the work? We made commitment that we are going to clean the system. we are going to do every other thing possible to make sure that indeed those among us, and in this example, the 2 out of the 10 has to be taken out of the ecosystem so that at least we can have the environment sanitized. But unfortunately, when we started implementing the work, the turnover was becoming very much scary and very much problematic. Lot and over of colleagues were actually finding themselves on the other side. And we got to realize that we cannot continue in this particular way. When you catch people doing corruption, when you get them fired, when you get them actually arrested, you get the Hawks to deal with them, and you activate correctional services to take care of them. Unfortunately, all of that comes to be reactive at the end of the day. On that basis, I was sitting with a lot of paperwork, which included officials that had to be strategically made unemployed. And that on its own became very much problematic. One, as the Border Management Authority operating at 25%, we knew that if we are going to be retiring or exiting corrupt individuals at the rate of 10 per month, as an example, that on its own was becoming very problematic. Operating at 25% capacity, that was taking us down. But similarly, in terms of our colleagues from organized labor that are supposed to be actually thriving with a very stable and grounded membership, every time somebody gets retired, it becomes a minus, even in terms of their books, and that effectively it is not a progressive reality. So on that basis, we then agreed that instead of getting colleagues fired one after the other on the basis of being found having done some corrupt activities, why don't we do things differently? The only way we can do things differently is to have some kind of a proactive intervention for the purposes of creating very strategic and targeted awareness to make sure that people understand the implications of corruption. So it was on that basis, colleagues, that we had to start this thing called Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. This is the forum that is being chaired by the Special Investigating Unit. Hence, I have actually indicated that Ntatele Khetho here is the chair of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. And arising from that, we are then able to bring the rest of the law enforcement authorities to come and talk to officials ahead of time in terms of demonstrating to them about the dangers of finding yourself entering into a corrupt activity. And I want to give this very practical example, colleagues, which is one of the unfortunate realities that happened in the ecosystem. And I can say it because the issue was fairly covered even by the media, and the issue was also a bit articulated by our colleagues from the Hawks. We did have an instance in one of the port of entry where one of the officials within the Border Management Authority, who was sitting at the age of 63, that particular individual was just 2 years into retiring. That particular individual has worked over 35 years in the ecosystem. That particular individual has already generated a very reasonable pension, and that particular individual was supposed to go into pension in 2 years' time and go enjoy the pension with his or her, and I strategically say that, the children. But I can tell you now, that particular individual was found taking some 100 rand from an individual who did not have proper documentation to enter the Republic. And that particular individual facilitated an individual on the basis of 100 rands, and that particular individual was caught, and that particular individual was fired. And as you know, when you get fired out of the public service, the rest of the contribution of the state in your pension for 35 years get taken back by the state. The worst part of it, that particular individual has to face the Hawks strategically. And you will know how the Hawks actually arrive at your place, driving those strategic vehicles. And then they are able to get you, and then they take you on a very special lift, unpaid on that basis, actually free of charge. And they take you through the court system. And that is where you're going to be having to have a conversation with the National Prosecuting Authority. And that particular individual is in the process. And that person ultimately is likely to be the client of the Department of Correctional Services. When that person is supposed to be enjoying the pension and is supposed to be with the grandchildren, unfortunately, that person goes on the other side. So on that basis, we said, let's come and talk to the colleagues practically. Let's talk to the Department of Correctional Services to bring those that are on the other side to come and openly share with the people so that it is not a rehearsed thing or something that is based just on English, but it is something that is going to be very much strategic, where we are going to then allow them to speak and say, colleagues, I used to work here. I used to be an immigration officer. I used to be a police officer in the ecosystem. I used to be a customs officer in the ecosystem, but I was caught one day, and I was caught for 50 rands, just because I was thinking about going to buy KFC on lunchtime. Instead of coming with scuffed basic stuff, just come with scuffed, even if it's some half a loaf of bread, at least you would have come with scuffed, you are safe. But you don't come with scuffed and then you get the 5th rand from the fellow whose passport has expired, you stamp the passport, and then you go buy KFC, and then you get caught and you lose everything. It is not worth it. And that is the reason why we are converged here today, and that is the context in terms of why we have this Border Management and Anti-Corruption Forum. Let me conclude, colleagues, by saying there is a lot of work that is being done going forward to make sure that border management and the work that we are doing in the border environment becomes something that is done in a better environment. Colleagues who are actually deployed here at Oshoek Port of Entry, you will be aware that Oshoek is one of the 6 top commercial land ports of entry that are actually going to be redesigned and redeveloped in the next few months. This particular port here is going to be among those. We have already announced the successful bidders that are going to come and do the redesigning of the ports. You know that in the North Corridor is going to be Beitbridge. In the East Corridor, it is Libombo to Mozambique. And of course, here to Eswatini is Oshoek. And of course, in the Central Corridor is Maseru Bridge, as well as Fixbeck. And in our Western Corridor is Kofontaine to Botswana. All of these ports are going to be redesigned, redeveloped. There will be better infrastructure. There will be better mechanisms so that we are able to do the work better. Therefore, as colleagues, if you do corruption and you unfortunately become the client of the hawks, ultimately you get a conversation with the NPA, you then go into the correctional services, you are not going to see the redevelopment. I mean, in that redevelopment, we already have a nice cubicle for you, and the chair is supposed to be strategic with some acoustics and stuff. We are going to be bringing some new computer, and when you are going to be sleeping on the braai stand in the Department of Correctional Services. I know they call them beds, but actually they are braai stands. So on that basis, it will be bad if indeed you do these things and you get caught just for corruption. So on that basis, colleagues, thank you very much. That is the purpose and that is the rationale why we are here, and the colleagues will talk more about the issues that are very much fundamental. The only objective is one, is to make sure that the colleagues become aware of the dangers of being involved in corruption, and to make sure that the colleagues desist from being part of a corrupt activity. And the colleagues who are not corrupt, they must help us to identify those that are corrupt. Because if they say everybody is corrupt, even you who is not corrupt, you are unfortunately going to be described as the corrupt individual. And that is why when you go to some ShopRite trying to go buy things there, they say, where are you working? We can see you are on uniform. And then you say, I work at Oshoek Port of Entry. And they start making announcement in ShopRite and say, everybody take care of your belongings. There is some customers here. Make sure that your belongings are close to you. So we don't want those announcements to happen because you went to ShopRite. We must identify the bad characters. We must deal with them and get them out of the system. Thank you very much.
Commissioner, thank you very, very, very much for introducing the principles and for also obviously sharing with us the purpose or the rationale behind us convening here. You also shared with us the genesis of the Border Management and the Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, including the kind of work that that particular forum is doing. You even went to an extent of talking about, obviously, the establishment of the Border Management Authority, which was also something that we appreciate. So we have obviously received information. I know that Commissioner referred to somebody who is going to give some remarks from the Eswatini Anti-Corruption Unit or Commission. As Jabu Pakati, we received information that the commissioner himself, that is Commissioner Mkachwa, is going to render that particular item. So we will be making those obviously amendments in as far as our program is concerned. Let us allow colleagues, the head of the Special Investigating Unit, who is also the chair of the Border Management and the Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, to come and give us some key remarks. Obviously, we are going to use that particular item to set the scene of this particular campaign. That is Date Leonard Dekheto. Dr. Dekheto, over to you.
Thank you, Program Director. And let me also pass the greeting to the Chief Albert Lituli Municipality, the MMC, and also the DG of Home Affairs, the Commissioner of BMA, the Commissioner of Anti-Corruption Commission of Eswatini, the representatives from the NPA, and the provincial head for SIU in Mpumalanga, representative from Sun Park, and I also saw representative from GCIS, and also representative from SARS, representatives from All Mutual, and representative from Organized Labor, that is NEHAU, PSA, SAPU, and POP Crew, and also members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I also try to cover everybody. And also just to add, to say all protocol observed, just to make sure that I even extend the coverage. I'm being advised by my colleagues, the communication team, to say, Mr. Lekheto, please stick to the script, because they know that I'm quite passionate about the issue of anti-corruption. But they said you were invited to speak about certain topic. Please stick to that, because that's what we are here from. And mostly it's all about the multi-stakeholder approach in combating fraud and corruption. So I'll be reading, but I'll try and hoy my own things so that they shouldn't say I've deviated so much. Commissioner, welcome. Colleagues, we always say integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So that's all what we always say. So I hope that we can practice that. But today we gathered here to confront a challenge that strikes at the very heart of our national security, our economy, and the trust of our citizens, which is fraud and corruption within the border and immigration environment. Our borders are more than an entry and exit point. They are a gateway to opportunities, trade, to tourism, and to safety. Yet they are also vulnerable to exploitation, to organized crime, and to systemic weaknesses that, if left unchecked, they will erode the very foundation of governance. The MMC spoke about the economic impact that the border has in terms of the local community. So this is very, very important. And I think also we just need to stress that we didn't just wake up and thought about coming here. We really value this gathering, and we really want to make the impact that matter. So let us be clear, corruption is in this sector is not a victimless crime. It enables human trafficking, illicit trade, identity fraud, and unlawful movement of people and goods. It undermined the rule of law and compromised the integrity of our institution. And this is precisely why no single entity can confront this challenge alone. So we need all of each other in order to challenge this problem. The complexity and scale of corruption and fraud at our border demand a collaborated and multi-stakeholder response. The one that brings together government, law enforcement, regulatory authority, private sector, civil society, and everybody. I think what is important, I always indicate that fighting corruption is not only the role of law enforcement, it's everybody's responsibility. We know in our community, the people that are not working, but they are driving flashy car. So who's supposed to report them? We know what they're doing. So it's the role of the community to give that information to the law enforcement so that they can able to take action. So that's where everybody comes in. So we really need to take our place, because this is our country. We cannot say, no, corruption is for law enforcement, doesn't affect me, I continue, but it's eroding the economy, and it's affecting the local economy around here. So all of us needs to really fight corruption. And at a special investigating unit, we have learned that sustainable solution lies not only in investigation and consequence management, but in partnership and also in prevention and systemic reform. Currently, we are really pushing forward on the issue of prevention, because we have realized that in most instances, our law enforcement, we're just focusing on reactive investigating after the effect. So the only way we can do is let's prevent. Once we prevent from happening, I think it will go a long way. And we have also seen that prevention is cheaper than coming to investigate. So that's the thing that we are busy making sure that we implement prevention. And currently we have developed a national anti-corruption framework, whereby the framework is going through the process of approval. And that's the framework that we are going to use in order to do prevention. One of the aspects that is in the framework is the lifestyle audit. The only way we can able to do is to conduct lifestyle audit, whereby we can able to see some of the officials that are living beyond their means, And the other thing is also, we are also introducing the issue of the data analytics, whereby we can able to do the predictive analytics, whereby we can able to see the risk exposure of government and able to advise in terms of some of the vulnerable sector and other vulnerable issues that government needs to do. So the framework is still under the approval process, whereby when it's approved, I think it's going to help in the long run in terms of really fighting corruption. And a multi-stakeholder approach enables us to break down silos and share critical intelligence in real time. Working together, I think it will really make us to fight this scourge. And it also strengthens oversight and accountability mechanism across institutions. It leverages technology and data analytics to detect and prevent fraud, and it enhances transparency in processes that are most vulnerable to manipulation. And it also enables to build a unified front against those who seek to exploit our system. But more importantly, it allows us to move from reactive posture to a proactive and preventative stance. Collaboration must become our strongest weapon, and we must foster the culture whereby ethical leadership is non-negotiable. Whistleblowers are protected and supported. Oversight bodies are empowered and independent. And every stakeholder understands their role in safeguarding the integrity of our borders. The partnership between institutions such as the SIU, the BMA, the Department of Home Affairs, the Anti-Corruption Commission of Eswatini, law enforcement agencies, Sun Park, and private sector, stakeholder representative. It's a decisive step in the right direction. So we also need to include Chief Lituli, Albert local municipality, because you are also the stakeholder in terms of this fight against corruption. Together we can close the gaps that criminals exploit, and together we can strengthen systems that deter wrongdoing. Together we can build an environment where integrity is not exception, but a standard. However, let me emphasize this. Agreement alone are not enough. For us to sit here and agree that this is what we're going to do is not enough. The true test of our commitment lies in the implementation. That is, what is it that we are going to speak about here? We must really make sure that we implement it. It lies in our willingness to act decisively and to hold one another accountable and to remain steadfast in the face of resilience. As SIU, we reaffirm our commitment to investigate without fear or favor, to collaborate with all partners in spirit of transparency and purpose, to support reform and strengthen governance and reduce vulnerability, and also ensure that wrongdoing is met with consequence. What we have observed and what we know is that there are money that are put in the passport. When your days are over and you didn't come on time, you just put money in the passport, you hand over the passport. We are aware of that. But the issue is, you don't know where it's going to strike. The commissioner spoke about it, that just 100 rand is going to cause big harm to you. I mean, being fired for 100 rand. The other thing is the impact that this person that is crossing over here, what is he going to do? What harm is he going to cause into the economy? You put the whole country into risk just for 100 rand. So we are aware of it. So let it continue, but we don't know when it's going to stop. Also, giving more days to the people. I think there's negotiation with stamp and give me more days. And also stamping the passport without the owner. We know that there's sometimes a taxi that can bring, instead of taxi bringing people, taxi bring passport so that they can be stamped. So we are aware of that. And when we release one of our report pertaining to the Department of Home Affairs, most of the people were saying this amount to treason. It's treason because what you are doing is really, really irresponsible, because the harm that you are causing, economy, social, everything that you are causing into the economy of the country. So that amount to treason. I think the NPA representative, we must really speak to you that we must really move to make sure that all the activity that happen, we must include treason in terms of it, because there's clear intention of really destroying the country. And we want to send a clear and unwavering message that corruption will not be tolerated, fraud will not be ignored, accountability will prevail. Let us live here today with a shared resolve, not only to collaborate, but to lead, not only to respond, but to transform. Because when we protect our borders, we are not just securing entry points, we are protecting the future of our nation. The fight against corruption is not a sprint, but a marathon that requires endurance, unity, and unwavering commitment. Let us run this race together. The integrity of our border reflects the integrity of our nation. So let us act decisively, collectively, and without hesitation. Together, we can do just fight corruption. we can close the space in which it exists. So with those few words, I just want to thank you for taking time to come and be in this gathering. And like I said, I hope that this will not just be a talk shop, and out of this we'll really see the change attitude and the change action in terms of how are we doing our work. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ntate Lekgetho, for setting the tone or the scene for the day. Obviously, in terms of what one can take out from this presentation or from the remarks that he made, linked to what the commissioner has said, is the importance of collaboration, and that is exactly why all the stakeholders are here. And he also mentioned something around the fact that prevention is what is cheaper within the context of what we are doing compared to the resources that we can put in the kitty to conduct investigation. And indeed, we are not only gonna talk, it's not gonna be a talk show. There are implementable deliverables that we are going to talk about. And we also take that to, obviously, our forum as well as the subcommittees of the forum. The other issue that you mentioned, and then I'm tempted to give you an example of the situation that I was confronted with. The issue that you mentioned, that let us not be arrested for 100 rand, this issue of people giving money in their passports, that is a reality. When I was deployed in Libombo for the first time as part of the festive season operation, I was really surprised that people are giving 200 to the commissioner for them to pass through to another country. So if you are not strong enough, there will be those who will take those resources, and then obviously people are watching you, they will arrest you. I was broke, but I didn't take that money. Colleagues, we have been welcomed by the MMC, and the commissioner also provided us with some, obviously, the purpose of this campaign, and also gave some of the examples, the Skaftin and the KFC matter. Now the acting head of the SIU has obviously shared with us some of the realities that are in the space in terms of the work that they are doing as the forum. I already indicated that we do not have the Hawks in our midst, but in terms of that item, we are going to request Advocate Maponya from the National Prosecuting Authority to come and render that item, which was obviously going to be in a way rendered by the Hawks. Advocate Maponya, the floor is yours.
Good morning, leadership. Protocol observed. Let me also try not to exclude others. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As said, I am Malope Maponya. I'm with the Specialized Tax Unit in the Limpopo Division. We are in the prosecution side. The previous speakers that spoke before me, I can assure you the preventative measures, the anti-corruption initiatives, the stakeholder collaboration, we will deal with it decisively. I may not speak in terms of what the Hawks do, but I'll speak in terms of what we do. In our line of work, we rely on evidence. That 63-year-old guy who's about to go on pension, if you keep the papers and the records within BMA, it's fine, we won't prosecute him. But should you bring him to us, we are definitely going to prosecute him. I want to give you, colleagues, an example of a multi-party stakeholder collaboration. I feel free to speak about this one because it's in the media, it was reported. It happened in Musina Bight Bridge. It was at night, a truck came in at the weighbridge. The RTMC people were busy doing their work. They stopped the truck innocently just to weigh it, just to check how much load it was carrying. Unfortunately, when they asked for the papers, they found that the license discs did not match the number plates. That is where the problem started. Now, because it was a foreign-owned truck, they had to issue spot fines. But in the midst of everything, the load on the truck was kind of tilting as if it's gonna fall. The traffic officer asked the driver, "Hey brother, what are you having here?" The brother got cold feet and said, "It's tobacco." He said, "What? Tobacco?" He said, "Fine, park there." Little did the traffic officer know that there is an escort in the form of a clearing agent who facilitated the passing through of the truck through the customs control area. He approached, told the traffic officer, "Hey man, we can make a plan. I'll give you 200,000 rand, just let this truck go." He said, "Hey, what are you saying?" "Okay, stand here." He called the police. The police arrived. "Hey brother, what's the problem?" "The truck is the problem. This guy is the problem. He's offering me money as a bribe," right? Then they decided, we are gonna call one customs senior officer to come and assist. Remember, it's at night. Anyone else could have said, no, I'm not on duty, I'll see you in the morning. The traffic office, the customs officer went to the scene, got the police to escort the truck back to the, in customs language, you call it the ramp, searching bay. It parked there, then they offloaded. They found that the truck was loaded with unmanufactured tobacco to the value of 6 million. That is not it. The Hawks, you'll pardon me if I'm going to reveal your secrets on how you go about doing your investigations. Now, the issue then became, if the truck was found 15 kilometers away from the border, how was it processed through customs control area? Right? You need documentation there. That is where the investigation started. They went to the verification officer's cubicle. They wanted documents. Upon the driver proceeding the documents, it must be scanned. There will be a printout detailing what trucks were processed at what time. Next to that, it's a traffic security officer who does the manual recording of the truck. On the manual recording of the truck's details are there. But when it comes to the customs official, the printout, land border management, gate pass, all the other trucks as on the manual register are reflected except this very one. Now you can see that there's a problem. The verification officer did not scan the truck, pretended to be scanning the documents, right? Evidence was gathered. She was charged with fraud. The clearing agent charged with fraud, forgery, and uttering, plus 2 counts of corruption. Oh, I forgot the other part. Whilst at the ramp, the very same clearing agent offered some more bribe to a customs officer, which was refused. Then it added to be another count of corruption. We prosecuted that guy from 2014 up until 2 years back. Both the clearing agent, the customs officer, they were convicted and sentenced to 15 years direct imprisonment. That's what we do. When we come to the social contribution by members and members of the public, it was again in Morebei. People were busy enjoying liquor at a tavern. Now they started quarreling over a cigarette. To say, you are smoking Kotli. Now your Kotli is finished. You want my RG. I cannot give it to you. You know where it's been sold? Go buy. Now when we went to go buy, there was a commotion in terms of what price to pay, because the seller wanted to overcharge him for RG when he knew RG was of a lesser price. He got angry, went to the police to say, there's a guy there selling RG, very expensive. He's now not complaining about the price. Now, when the Hawks came in, they were very smart. They did not go to this Molanyana victim. They wanted the big fish. So they applied for what we call Section 252A, entrapment, only to find that in that policing area, there are certain police officers who are involved in escorting trucks or bakkies which are loaded with cigarettes through that policing area. You will recall in 2014 at Morebeng police station, almost the whole station, all the police were almost arrested. It was only a few left. So when it came to us with investigation, evidence, we prosecuted the guy. He was convicted last year and sentenced to 8 years direct imprisonment. I would like to demonstrate to you that we, when presented with evidence, we are really going to prosecute, and you are going to get good results. Right, how do we come into the picture? We, the Specialized Tax Unit, are responsible to prosecute tax-related matters. As long as there is tax implications, there is prejudice to SARS, we come in. The guy we were in an extra page is put inside the passport. We have those kind of cases. We have one officer who has now resigned at Bike Bridge. What he did, he stamped and forgot to update the system. You see the paper trail. Now when the Hawks go there, they say, okay, this man came in on the 25. Give us the movement register of this passport number. When you punch on the system, the guy has since left. He hasn't arrived, but yet his passport is stamped. Can you see how easy it could be to detect that form of corruption and fraud? Those are the instruments that we use, maybe for purposes of bail application. We want to know, when did you arrive? How did you leave? What time? In some instances, you'll find 4 people inside a car. They will tell you, no, these 3 have just asked for a lift. They don't know nothing about the illicit cigarettes. Now, when you go to investigate the movement register, you may find they all came in on the same day. Their processing is almost 15 minutes apart. They are also have reported to be coming in with a car registration, so and so and so. So that tells you there's no way this one could have asked for a lift. There's no way they are not known to each other. Correct. Yes, cigarettes in Limpopo is the most traded commodity, but we have managed to send a lot of people to jail. we also have managed to have vehicles forfeited to the state. If we find a truck loaded with cigarettes, in the process of us guiding investigations, we activate the asset forfeiture unit. They are going to deal with your finance and asset investigations. They will involve the DPCI, PCSI. They will get your bank statements, your assets. Then at the end of the day, you'll have to explain how you have acquired all this. Without any reasonable explanation, your vehicle gets forfeited to the state. Your house as well may be forfeited to the state and sold on auction. We do all that to demonstrate that really crime does not have to pay. If you have to hit the criminals, we hit them where it hurt most, that is in their pockets. With all that said, colleagues, we were told that only two things are certain in life. That is death and paying your taxes. And now I want to suggest that we add the third one to say, definitely, if you are involved in crime, you are not going to reap the benefits. Should we find you, we are going to deal with you and deal with you decisively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ntatema Ponya from NPA. I do know that what we requested you to do was also to cover some of the modus operandi that these culprits are using. And then you did exactly that, much as your area is in the tax-related crime. I was informed that we are blessed because we do have in our midst the Honorable Speaker of this municipality, that is the Chief Albert Luthuli municipality, that is Councillor SV Vininza. I was told that if you make a mistake of pronouncing somebody's surname, you won't be forgiven. You deal with the ancestors. So with the name, so if I didn't pronounce it well, I'm going to deal with the ancestors. So if you can just show the people that you are available by standing up, Councillor, sorry to do that to you. Thank you very much, Councillor. There are also MMCs in our midst, as well as the ward councillors who are also obviously in the space. Thank you very much, councillors, for honoring us, or for gracing us. We are moving to the next item. That is the item that is going to be rendered by Dr. Funda from Sunpark, where he will share with us some of the challenges that they're experiencing with regard to the wildlife crimes. And I do know that we have set aside, I think, 30 minutes, but I do know also that you can do that within 15 minutes so that we can catch up. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, Program Director. Dr. Lubengwa, while they are still busy with technology, let me do some logistical things. I hope technology is going to work, but being a ranger, you always have backups. If technology is not working, here's my backup to remind me of the issues that I want to discuss. I'm going to start saying good morning. I think it's still morning. You know, in Africa, with some of our cultures, we don't have to be specific. Say good morning. In Xhosa, we say molo. In Zulu, we say sanibona. There is no morning or afternoon, and you know, these foreign languages sometimes they becomes a problem. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to be very brief. It seems technology is going to let us down. I'm going to talk about wildlife trafficking in general. I work for South African National Parks. I'm based in Pretoria. We were on the news recently for the attack on tourists up in the northern part of Kruger National Park in Pafuri. The cooperation between South Africa and Mozambique was very efficient, and we managed to recover the vehicle. We managed to even arrest criminals in Mozambique with the cooperation of the Mozambicans. Therefore, to hear that the government of Swaziland is here as well in support of our campaign is really highly appreciated, because criminals sometimes they don't follow the boundaries of the countries. I knew that technology is going to let us down, and so I have backups. Seemingly the password of the computer cannot open. The criminals are targeting few species of our animals, more especially in South Africa. Rhino poaching is one of the major problems that we're facing in our country. And these species are not even used in Africa, they are used outside the country. And the collaboration between criminals and officials is quite high, and we have arrested in these campaigns police, soldiers, rangers, people that are on our payroll. We have arrested them. And I like the magistrate that is operating in Kruger, Skukuza specifically. He is not playing, he's giving serious sentences. You can get 28 years behind bars easily. And people, they thought, for a rhino, small thing like a rhino, small thing like pangolin, 28 years. But it depends on the scarcity of that particular species and the circumstances. We use helicopters, we use field rangers, we use firearms, and those things cost money. And if you prepare your staff pretty well, you will be able to succeed. Can you see on the screen? Yes. Oh, great. Technology is working then. And this is not a South African challenge or an African challenge. This is a global challenge, wildlife trafficking. And we happen to have rich species in our continent. And these species are on demand, and people are interested to use them illegally. And we seem to be breeding these species in Africa for the Asian market. We work with different countries, as I say on my introduction, that we had an incident where tourists were killed in Kruger National Park, but we managed to respond very quickly and bring them and put them behind bars. And we have this thing called transfrontier parks. And I've become worried with the campaigns in these days about xenophobic and all of that. Because our wildlife animals, they don't follow our political boundaries. We have animals that they will move between Songimvelo and Swaziland. And we have to cooperate with the Swazis on how do we bring those animals. And therefore we work with different countries in dealing with our wildlife crime. We even, as sand parks, we manage about more than a million hectares. We have some ports of entries inside our parks. Giriondo is inside Kruger National Park. We've got some ports of entry in Galagadi, in the Northern Cape, and We, even up in Pafuri, we work with different countries in those areas. Therefore, sometimes, Commissioner, we do your work and we control immigrants and people that are leaving the country. Hence, we participate in this forum. Dr. Albengwa, the Commissioner, want to see you. Governance tools of the trade. We have international treaties, we've got regional cooperations, we've got legislation in South Africa, we have policies, we've got directives to counter wildlife crime. Then, as I mentioned, species that are targeted, rhino, elephants, abalone. We tend to forget that we've got species in the marine. I mean, the terrestrial environment is this, if you compare it with the marine. The rest of the world is filled with waters. And therefore, we deal with abalone as well. Therefore, we've got many challenges, terrestrial and also the marine component. Succulent plants in the Northern Cape are a serious problem. Vultures poisoning. Even in this area, we have experienced vulture poisoning. Predators, lions, people are harvesting lion claws and lion bones. And lesser extent, we've got cycads, pangolin, and dove chameleon. People are stealing almost everything. In South Africa, we develop an integrated approach to wildlife crime, and that involve compulsory intervention where we proactively and deal with criminals on a daily basis. I mean, at one stage, we were having more than 16 incursions in Kruger Park coming from both sides, South Africa and Mozambique. Without the assistance of the military, the police, and the customs, I don't think we would be successful. Therefore, we'd like to thank the police and other agencies for supporting us. These are the stats in terms of last year's how many rhinos have been poached. 352 rhinos have been poached, compared to 420 in 2024 and 499. We are seeing a decline in rhino poaching, which is a good thing for the country. We have these different levels that we have in terms of criminals. We have categorized them into different levels. We have a poor poacher that is coming into your park and shooting an animal, and we have someone who's couriering this animal to send to cities, and we have a national courier, and that national courier might be exporting these parts or the animals to foreign land. And we always said we are not going to win this in the bush. We will win this in the courts. We need to investigate. We need to have proper dockets, and we need to be able to convince the magistrates that we have done our job. Major deterrents so far, I want to mention the one which is not listed there. Corruption is a cancer in our systems. And it's something which is really bad. We need to take it out of the system. I mean, if you have a cancer, you are taken to an ICU and to remove cancer. We think correctional services are the people that are going to remove that cancer from the system. And we work very well with correctional services to remove the cancer from the system. It's something that we don't want it in our system. And this cancer is not even only targeting internal or external, it's also targeting internal staff members. As I've mentioned, that our internal staff members are also involved. Boots on the ground, we rely heavily on the rangers and proactive approaches where we do intelligence gathering. And the high level of convictions is one of the things that have really showed us that we think it's contributing, is a deterrent in terms of inmates kept longer behind bars. And the use of technology, we use technology, dogs, aircrafts, cameras, and all sorts of things to deal with these cameras, with these criminals. What can you do? You can report to us, and we've got all of that. And if there is someone who's interested on my presentation, we've got all those numbers in Kruger. It's 0137350197. We've got also a toll-free number, that 0800 0000221. You can even send an SMS to 49019 and you report the crime. And online, you can, if you have access into emails, you can even email us at sandparks@behonest.co.za. Please don't get involved in wildlife trafficking. If you found guilty, you're gonna rot in jail. Take-home message: we are mainly focusing on the supply side, and demand side is not addressed. And more especially when these things are happening outside the country. I'm glad that we've got even the Hawks here. They try to help us to operate outside the country, more especially in Asia. We've got alliances and agreement and MOUs with Asian countries like Vietnam and Laos. A wildlife crime needs multiple stakeholders and alliances. We cannot fight this alone. There are people out there that are willing to support us financially, and therefore, if you have a project and the project is viable or is a bankable project, you will be able to get some funding somewhere. Empower and develop human capabilities. I think in Safcol, I saw that lots of forests here. They have a slogan, say, if you don't train them, don't blame them. Therefore, you must have staff members that are properly trained. They know what they are doing. And National Park is surrounded by communities. Therefore, we need to make sure that these communities are much safer as well. With those few words, Program Director, thank you. I think I've kept within 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Funda from SANParks. When we were preparing for this campaign, we made a commitment that we need to ensure that we respect time, and the time that is allocated will be exactly what we should use to render that particular item. And then Dr. Funda is one of those who are saying, Chairperson, if you are going to direct the program, ensure that people stick to time. Hence, I emphasize it. So I was timing him so that when we do when we arrange other meetings or other campaigns, I'm able to remind him about the fact that which he proposed is not something that he is able to comply with. But thank you very much. He emphasized the issue of the integrated approach or coordinated approach, which in Tateli Keto also referred to, including the commissioner. The kind of assistance that obviously we are getting from SAPS, military as well as SARS. And then most importantly, I was impressed to hear that the decline of rhino poaching. So the decline of rhino poaching is something that we should be celebrating. We are not there yet, but it's something that at least is worth emphasizing. Let us now transition to session number 3, where we are going to get our representative from SARS Customs, who is going to render an item on combating customs fraud as well as corruption. That is Me Tshebeletso Seremane in the business area called Custom, Excise and Integrity. Me Seremane, you can come to the podium.
Thank you, Program Director. I would like to say good morning. I want to believe that it is still morning. Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, the DG of the Home Affairs Department, the acting head of SIU, Commissioner of Eswatini, MMC for Planning and Economic Development, distinguished representatives from SANDF, Correctional Services, Labor Union, Corruption Watch, SunPact, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I want to believe I covered as well. My name is Tebelezo Seremani. I'm the business area lead responsible for customs and excise integrity. It is an honor, certainly, to be part of this campaign. And we really would want to commend Border Management Authority for actually providing this platform for us to collaborate, coming together as law enforcement agencies, oversight institutions, civil society, in a commitment to actually come and confront a very serious challenge of fraud, corruption, and organized crime. I think our program today reflects the seriousness actually of the challenge that you are faced with. The challenge that actually steals from our economy, the challenge that is affecting our safety and security, and of course it erodes the trust in government institutions. I think the previous speakers have alluded to the fact that corruption is a scourge. And I want to emphasize the point that has already been raised to say corruption actually thrives where there are gaps. It thrives where there are silos. And when you look at how actually corruption manifests and is actually conducted, it's in a syndicated way. The challenge that we're dealing with here, it's organized crime. As SARS, we actually have taken the zero tolerance stance to corruption. And in our efforts, we've begun to see that this challenge is quite big. I think Commissioner Masiapato spoke about how different institutions or even officials from different institutions come together in committing corruption. And that's how organized crime actually functions and work. And based on that, we actually have changed our approach in dealing with corruption. We realized that for a very long time, we actually focused on our officials internally. So we continued to actually hire and fire, and corruption continues. And we came to the realization that for as long as we only focus internally, we're not going to win this battle. But the second issue is, for as long as we only work as SARS and we do not collaborate, we are not going to win the battle. BMA can fire 55 officials, but if SARS does not collaborate with them as they conduct the investigations, we might as well forget about making that impact. Because corruption at the borders, when they happen, it's happening through the whole scheme. I think the previous speaker from NPA spoke about clearing agents. So how it works is that whatever money that gets collected at the end, you'd find that there is a share that goes to Home Affairs, that goes to BMA, that goes to police, and everybody is involved. So even when you conduct the investigation, it doesn't become that easy, that simple. Because then you would not even in some instances be able to get the information because it's some other parties that are involved. This calls for increased collaboration even amongst us, that as we deal with this, we deal with it in all the institutions. So we have changed our approach and said and recognized that becoming reactive is actually limited. And we are now much more proactive and preventative in our approach. I think the acting head of SIU spoke about the lifestyle audit. And I must indicate that we actually have now developed the framework and approved that for lifestyle audits. Our commissioner has just recently indicated that we are going to embark on the lifestyle audit, starting from, of course, the highest in the institution. He offered even to be the first to actually do that, and will be doing it at all the ports. And that will not only just be limited to customs, for SARS, obviously we'll do it in tax as well. I just wanted to share to say, we realize the importance of the lifestyle audit with one case that we had in Gauteng, where we found an officer with an annual salary of about 600,000 rands, having assets to the tune of about 18 million rands. And that just tells how actually people do that. And I think I'm with my colleague who was very instrumental in actual fact because they do the investigations. We found that the very official could afford to buy the child a G-Wagon. She was driving the top of the range Range Rover, going on holiday to Cape Town, to Pepper Club. You know Pepper Club, how much is it? Able to pay 25,000 rands per night for 2 weeks in Cape Town. 600,000 rand salary. So if you don't do the lifestyle audit, you wouldn't be able to pick up those kind of issues. But also if your investigation is only focused internally, you are not able to pick on the corruptors, because as much as you fire, the corruptors remain. We had a case in Gauteng where we recently actually managed to get the preservation order on the assets. When we investigated that, we found how the corruptors are actually exploiting our officials. So it has become important for us to look at the supply chain as a whole and look at the insider threat, which is what compromises us quite a lot. Through that investigation, we have found that as an organization, as a country, we have lost billions in tax. But because our own officials would be able to actually get some money and be able to afford a house for 15 million rands. But the cost is the cost at the country, economy, security. Usually when we do our awareness sessions in SARS, I usually say to colleagues, we are the face of the country. We are the first point of contact for travelers and whoever that comes. So how we conduct ourselves is quite important. But also one might actually think that if I facilitate the drugs coming in, it doesn't impact me because I'm staying in Pretoria and these are actually coming in Mpumalanga. You do not know where will these travel, to the extent that they will be now sold by your area. And we see that our own kids are now into drugs. We see the crime that gets committed by people who consume this. We see the extent to which legitimate trade is shrinking and shops are closing, companies are closing. It's our very own who lose the jobs. But it's because of you and me who has been entrusted with that responsibility of protecting the economy, of protecting the borders and the security, and we are not coming to play on that. So it is important that when we deal with corruption, we look at both internally and externally and address those in such a way that it does not become enticing for people to get into corruption. Commissioner, we are also looking at getting the pension funds, because a person who has committed corruption has actually stolen from the fiscus. And we need the money to be able to build the schools. We need that money so that our municipality can actually be in a position to do the roads. We have also now begun to enhance the protection of the whistleblowers. I want to share this with you that recently we had one of our own whistleblowers. We conducted the risk assessment and we provided security. Unfortunately, when the person was actually coming back from work with the protectors, they got shot 17 times. And how it happened is that there were employees who were dismissed. They approached Ingabi to actually get rid of the whistleblower. The Ingabi contacted the whistleblower and said, the amount of money they're offering me is not much. Make a better offer, I will eliminate them. This is the seriousness of the challenge that we are confronted with. And it requires of all of us to join hands, collaborate, and fight corruption as much as we can. Externally, we are continuing to profile those that we begin to identify as corruptors. We are looking at the clearing agents. We know they are very much involved. In fact, they recruit our new employees. When they see new employees coming in, they recruit, they approach them, they offer them money. And it is therefore important that we work on to that. Our unit, Integrity Promotion and Assurance, actually has a mandate of investigating. So wherever we identify integrity lapses, they conduct investigation without any fear or favor. It doesn't matter the rank, we do conduct the investigation. But also I think what we have seen as quite important is that collaboration with other institutions helps a great deal in ensuring that we do get the cases to finality and get the conviction that we'd want to see. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to believe that this should not just become a dialogue. This should not just become an event where we just meet and we engage. Commissioner said it must translate into action. We are committed to fight this scourge of corruption, and we are extending the hand to say, as SARS, we will collaborate with yourselves. We want to appreciate the cooperation that we continue to receive, be it from BMA, be it from NPA, be it from SIU. We need to come together. If the syndicates realize that we are working together united, that will stand and send a strong message. But at this point, they thrive and they get excited if they realize that there are gaps amongst us, that we work in silos. And we really appreciate that this is the beginning of the journey, working together and fighting corruption to ensure that our economy and the safety of our nation is secured. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tshebeletso. Very scary report that we got there. To listen that there is some kind of negotiations between the Inkabis and the whistleblowers. Yeah, it's very scary. But as you said, we should together as a collective, in a very integrated and coordinated manner, deal with this issue. You also raise an issue of lifestyle audit. I do know that perhaps Commissioner might have shared within Tatelikheto that we try to do that as a BMA. Everything was obviously concluded until a point where we were told that in order to only target the senior management or the executive, we will need something to the region of 9 million. That is only for how many? Oh, CFO is here. Welcome. So maybe she's going to give us those resources. So that is the amount that we told about, only to target the executive, because we already indicated that we need to start with the executive to do that lifestyle audit. But imagine, colleagues, if all the entities that are in the border management space, a port for example, are lifestyle audited, what kind of a sanitized environment are we going to have? You have CBRTAs, BMA, SARS, police, everyone. So that we are beginning to check why is it that Dr. Rubengo is able to buy 5 series. They are called 5 SUVs. Or they are called X5s, ne? It shows that I don't have it. I don't have them. With the resources that CFO is giving him at BMA. So we need to be able to get into that. But colleagues, we do have our colleague from Department of Correctional Services who is going to render one of the critical items, that is session number 4, where the 3 inmates as well as one who is on parole is going to share with us their testimonies, going to focus obviously on the personal regret, the loss of there if there was something like that, and then obviously their careers that was negatively affected. I do know that there is one person who is coming from Department of Home Affairs, one person is obviously from SARS, and then there is a parolee who was obviously imprisoned for these wildlife things. Dr. Funda, he's the one who said, let us at least get somebody. So we were happy that our Commissioner from Correctional Service was able to give us that. So I won't indicate obviously the final details of that. We will request Ntate Nkosi to come and give those remarks, and just for 2 or 3 minutes, and we will then give you the session so that you can introduce them when they come to the floor. Ntate Nkosi, over to you.
Thank you very much. Let me greet the House at large. Want to say I might omit others as in when I greet per person, but to say in a protocol observed, I think it will be sufficient enough. Program Director and the Commissioner, I think we have taken a good decision that you invite correctional services to be part of this session. Why am I saying that? Correctional services is actually at the receiving end. Correctional services is at the receiving end. And correctional services is actually where you send the sound to the larger community outside there to say you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, but in one of the good days, you are going to sit somewhere and regret. Because Commissioner, you'll also understand that when we are also young, you will be told to say, if you ignite this fire, it's going to burn and it's going to be hot. Imagine a child who's still not believing that fire, when it is being ignited, it's hot. Then this particular child will go on and on while parents are saying, do not touch here, it's hot, you're going to burn. But with the mentalities which we are having at some point, we do not see these things when they are not being repeated to us. So this session of today, this awareness of today, is actually repeating what we are being told. What we are told at school, what we are told at the crèche, what we are told in our churches, up until we learn to courts and we learn to correctional services. Hence I said, when I started to talk, I said we are at the receiving end. And what this contributes to correctional services, it contributes to budget constraints. Because as the speakers were here, some of them they indicated to say it has got serious financial implications. And where is this money coming from? All this money is coming from our own communities here, from our taxpayers. So why must we go there and spend this money in this way? And some of this money, it limits the creation of the job, and people are sitting there without a job. But also, think of being an elderly person who's committing this fraud, who's committing this corruption, who end up being prosecuted. What are you leaving to the kids there at home? What are you leaving to the family there at home? What are you creating there? That the kids and the family, they are without a parent. A parent is sitting inside the correctional facility. Who's going to nurture these children which we are leaving behind? So standing here in front of this awareness, I want to say to everyone, there is still an opportunity that we learn from this campaign, we learn from this awareness, so that we cannot find ourselves on the wrong lines, whereby we are bringing some sort of burden to our own country. So with this short words which I've already alluded to, I want to introduce our clients which I'm here with. There are only 3, these clients. We have got 2 who are still inside the correctional services, inside the walls. They are still being rehabilitated. They are going to tell us here, standing here, what were they convicted for and how long are they serving. And the other one is already on his parole. He's also going to tell us what was he convicted to and how long was he serving. And they are also going to tell us what's that which they've learned from all this after they've committed this crime. Definitely they are going to tell us that the crime does not pay. If you go on with corruption, if you go on with fraud, it won't pay. Instead, it will create burden to your own family. Instead, it will create burden to the country. So let me call them. The first one will be Khumalo Tengiwe to come in front. Thank you very much, Tengiwe. So she's serving her term. She's going to tell us, she's going to talk to us. I won't talk on behalf of her, how long is she serving, what did she do, and so on. She is going to do it on herself. But I want to also declare up front, they are not coerced to say anything in front of her. They are saying it voluntarily from their own good hearts and from what they know that transpired as a result of these incarcerations which they are serving. Thank you very much.
Sanbonani, I'm the least important amongst all these guests in here. I don't even have enough words to thank my Honorable HCC, Mr. Nkosi, my Commissioner, of this privilege that you are giving me to be standing here this morning to address you. My name is Tengiwe Khumalo. I'm from Durban, KwaMashu. I relocated to Nelspruit because of work. I was employed by South African Revenue Services. I was staying right here in this red building in one of the flats. Some of the colleagues around here, they know me. And today I'm standing before you. I'm even ashamed of myself. This crime happened in 2010. I was pushed by the social pressures of friends and wanting to buy all the luxuries and tickets for the World Cup. This was the Organized Crime Act. I was incarcerated. The stress fest that I went through, attending courts almost every single month. At that time, I was fired by SARS. Then I went back to Durban, to my parents. I had to travel every single month from Durban to Nelspruit to attend the case in regional court. The stress that you go through, you don't add weight no matter how much you eat. You don't talk about it. I did not tell my parents until I was incarcerated in 2023. Since 2010, no one knew everything that was happening. I decided not to tell them because I did not know how to explain what I have done. I have organized with friends to have money, and I exposed very sensitive information about my organization on how we're going to get this money. I told them that we will complete fictitious documents and submit it to SARS. And we did that. We claimed quite a substantial amount. And then when I had to attend the case, they all ran away. And I alone had to pay every single cent of it. I'm currently incarcerated in Nelspruit Correctional Center. I'm serving 10 years sentence. When my family has failed, and my employer, which was SARS at that time, failed, I was handed over to my commissioner, Tubakale, and this man in brown, Mr. Nkosi. He is expected not to fail. That is the difficulties and the challenges that he's facing. I will define my corrupt act and my fraudulent act as a very disrespectful, selfish act that happens only in that very moment. And I failed to think about the long-term effect of just accepting a very small amount. I'm going to give you a gist of what is happening inside prison. I know that some of us as inmates, we are able to smuggle illicit items within the Correctional Service Center. That this man in brown, Mr. Nkosi next to me, he's supposed to not to fail when everybody else has failed. And that is why this wrong information and this wrong perception about jail, which is now given a fancy name that it's a correctional center, but at the end of the day, it's still jail. Some people are giving them a perception that they're cooking for us, they're giving us free cosmetics and all that soap. Yet, it is a very painful part. To be in there, it's an eyesore. Our program director mentioned that it is a price stand. Before my incarceration, I lived a very good life. SARS has provided to me everything that I will need. They relocated me from Durban. They gave me a place to stay. They relocated all my children at their very cost. They put them in very expensive schools that I could not afford. They paid everything for them at their cost. That very hand that was feeding me and my children and my family, I had to defraud. And today, my children will cry every time when he visits Nelspruit Correctional Center. And one day, he answered this very man standing next to me. He said, I want to sleep where my mother is sleeping. He talked to her. She's very tiny. This year, she's turning 13 years. She's just joined the high school. She spoke to her. She said, to be here is not a very good place, but one day, when you grow older, you will understand. She then kept quiet. She had to leave. She was made to understand the difficult consequences of my wrong actions. I know that what is currently happening in South Africa with regards to Madlanga Commission, it is an exposure that our government currently is leaving no stone unturned. The fact that you are not in this blue, which is not SAPS blue, it's still an opportunity for you to do the right thing. It is still an opportunity for you not to make the choices that I've made. You still have that choice. Not to make the decisions that I have made. Not to walk in the path that I have walked. My children have now gone back to Durban, where my parents are. They've gone back to the Zulu school, where I went. And I grew up, I said I don't want my children to go and attend school in the same way I attended, but today they are there because of my own selfish acts. This campaign that is happening today, I want us to take it very seriously. Inside prison, we are being searched. Anytime, they're not going to tell me that during the day, in the morning, at 2 a.m., they will come and knock and wake me up and say, we are searching. The cell phones that you are having an impression that we have, there is absolutely nothing. I will smuggle it today. I will not stay with it for more than 24 hours. They will come and they will search and they will find it. When they remove it, that wrong information has been spread out that we are in a 5-star hotel. The food is not nice. The bed is not nice. We wake up early in the morning. Sometimes at 1 a.m. you have to bath because the queue is very long. The cubicle that we are staying, we'll stay, I will estimate it and say it's a maybe 6 by 4 meter room. And it's got a lot of beds. There's about 50 inmates in one room. If I can fart here, you will all feel like, yeah. But in that environment, it's very serious. Someone will just poop, not too far, in a corner like that. They will poop because the toilet is here. It's open. There's nothing that they can do. It's nature that is calling. She has to fart. She stayed there. So being in prison is not a nice thing. Now that we are still given that opportunity, I wish I could plead to the government that maybe if they can give a grace period to say those who are in the country in an illegal way, they should just come forward voluntarily, report to the nearest SAPS, nearest clinic, nearest office, nearest SARS, and say, I'm here illegally, but now I do not have financial means to travel back home. Then maybe the grace period will be like 3 or 4 days. And not everything can be resolved by violence. The march and march is a misunderstanding of what the country wants. Or maybe some of the communities. I'm a Zulu by nature. So the violence that is taking place, it's not only affecting our fellow South Africans, but it is affecting our beautiful brothers and sisters who are South Africans also in other countries. So the 20 rands, I know the commissioner said it's 100 rands. I'm staying with some of these women in our cells. They tell us that they pay 20 rands to go through the fence, and then they're allowed in South Africa. So these are the facts that we are living with. just one selfish act of corruption that I made, it did not only affect me, but it affects the whole nation. If you look at this act of me putting the 20 rands in my pocket and allow this one illegal immigrant in my country, I did not check the health status of this person. Then this person will be the responsibility of this man standing next to me. You'll find that she's highly pregnant, maybe 8 months pregnant. She's jumping in the fence so that she will have a baby in our healthcare system. Now, where is that money going to come from? They're going to have to rob that gogo who's sitting in the village of Umzimkulu, for example, and say, instead of you, gogo, getting 100 rand increase on your pension, we are going to give you 10 rand. Because now I have to buy ARVs for that person that Zama put 20 rand on her pocket. This person, our finance minister, Mr. Kondongwane, did not budget that. He thinks that he only have 3 million residents who are HIV positive that he's buying ARVs for. But now, because of Zama's criminal, selfish, corrupt act, by putting 20 rand in my back pocket, I'm now putting pressure on these taxpayers that there must be money that shall come and buy ARVs for these people that I'm bringing in the country. So we can see how much this pressure is putting on our education system, on our health system, just because of one selfish act. Now, the things that I've learned inside the correctional services. I've done a couple of programs. Although my career cannot be restored, SARS was teaching me I would go to any university that I want. They were paying for all my education. Now all that was taken away from me. My pension was taken away from me. My houses, my cars, it was all taken away from me just because of one selfish act. Then I had to pay everything. There's also a unit that is called Asset Forfeiture Unit. They have not spoken about it yet. That unit, it will make sure that you lose everything that you have. They will collect up to the last cent that you have corrupted or you have frauded. The same has happened in my life. Today, when I get out of correctional services, I just have a simple plan of maybe baking biscuits just to make a living, of which is totally different from where I was before incarceration. So this is not to make you scared, but it is to caution you of what corruption and fraud is like in South Africa and what impact it has in our country. So please make the right choice, not the choices that I made. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see, without wasting of further time, let's get my Tebula Nhlanhla.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether it's still morning or what. Because of prison, you even forgot days, eh? My name is Matebola Nhlanhla. I'd like to thank and appreciate the opportunity given by you, Mr. Nkosi, and whosoever arranged this meeting. It's a meaningful event. I don't want to lie. I'm going to be brief. I'm not going to waste much time. Before maybe I can proceed, if I may ask you, how many of you maybe want to sit next to me? Don't even answer me. Maybe 98% they will say, no, we don't want to associate ourselves with you. You know why? It's because of this uniform. It's not nice wearing this uniform. And I am not proud of myself. Yes, I am ashamed of myself.
The only people maybe who would like to sit or to be next to me is the people who escorted me, because it's their duty to take me here and also to bring me to the prison. I was working for the Department of Home Affairs. I was employed 2007, if not making a mistake, until 2022. Yes, some of me maybe they say, yes, we know you. I was an assertive person, I cannot lie. I was a hard-working person. But because of this thing, corruption, we must stamp it out, starting from today. Life was good. Life was nice. Everything. Maybe you can witness that because you are outside. You can say yes. Even I was having a bottle of sparkling. Just imagine, for me to hold a sparkling bottle is a privilege. Wow. So life went by. Life goes on. Investigation took place. I was arrested. It was 2019, 2022, if not making mistake. Yes, yeah, 2022. Investigation took place. I was arrested. I was prosecuted. I was detained. Actually, I said earlier on, I just want to be brief. What I'm here today to tell you is that corruption does not pay. Please, if you are still having your job, hold on that job. Please don't even start it. You are lucky because we are here standing in front of you today. We are telling you that corruption is not a good thing because we've been there. We are behind those walls. It's not nice there. Imagine, I am sentenced 1,825 days. Those who have calculators, they can calculate, but that one is 5 years. I'm sentenced 10 years, but if Mr. Nkosi and the parole board, they can say, yeah, you behave well, young man, you can just go home, it's going to be 5 years. The reason I'm saying that is that prison is not a nice place to be. So, in short, or to wrap everything, is that those who are working, especially public servant and other stakeholders, please, let us refrain corruption, let us stay away from corruption, let us stop it. Tell the person maybe sitting next to you, say, start with me today. I will not do it, just for the sake of South Africa, for the safety of your kids, for the safety of the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nanomusnishile nje ukuthi wendani. Ukuthi wendani exactly sinishile lapho ne. Awukasitshelanga usiyini lo wayenda besilenzele kakhulu le. But nevertheless, let me call the last one, who is Mdluli Trinity. He is one of our parole. He is also going to take us through what transpired and wabese so kwetshwa sikhathi singakanani bekwende njani. You are welcome, Mdluli Trinity.
Sanibonani. Ngiyabonga program director mphathi all in all nje correctional service for ukuthi silethela. So ne BMA for UCI arrange this event. Ngimumuzi wakamdluli Sibongo. Ngatalela ikhumbula eLos. So sikolongile ayuthanga esikolweni but apparently ngaluza abatali at a younger age. Cabanga baba bashona, it was 2000 bamdubula. So basuma bamdubula sala samgcwaba kwaba right, but mistake le wayenda babe ngangishela bashiya ekhaya eToulouse. Apparently washiya ama hunting rifles la i3, i300 Winmark, Winchester, Moisen, 303, ne375. So bengakulandzeli lokho ma firearms and so forth. So I went to school. It was 2007 at Valley University of Technology, but due to my financial problems, I had to, last year it was 2009, I had to drop out and come back home. As long as there's nothing there being so so this other guy who knew ukuthi ekhaya bokunani babe bekanani wafika ngeapproach ukuthi approach with sambe so siye kurayini kuma poach kuyashela so poach ngajuteka ngahamba nami ngokulandzela le scenario yakhe ngene ngicabanga more than 100 times eKruger National Park. Bangani balozile laphana, it's about 40 something. Bangcwabile. Straight eKruger. It was, I think it was 2015 whereby as masingene eKruger near la ngase Picturoscope camp. Ngathekwa ielephant. Nemaskazi angala emva nje ngalo. Yangisha almost to half dot, but the other person lebengihamba naye azange survive. So ngaphuma ngesibhedlela ngaphuma but zange boshwe lapho. So what's the following year, it was 2016. Yet again ngabuyela eKruger National Park with a different team. Roughly like May. Sahamba so poach successfully. Saphuma ngaphandle ngathenga imoto ngalungisa ekhaya then but baba babe bekakhile ekhaya lakhe because babambe kasebenza ka government ka housing Department of Housing. So lasuma ngithenga imoto ngathenga that and like quite a lot of things. No greediness ngaphenza ngabuyela yet again back to Krug the very same year. I think it was around October, the 8th of October, whereby Masbob. But luckily, mina zange dubleka. Apparently labaye bengihamba nabadubleka. So bad anyway ukuthi mangikhumbula Khoza bamdubula just right here. Ukrip live up until nanamuhla. Sifiso I choose wamlulu munye. Sikhuluma nyalo se standard one prison. So wathi mabasibopha nebangigweba 11 years. 11 years then by God's grace ngahlala only, it was 2019, ngahlala only for about 7 months, 3 months in Nelspruit and 4 months at Barberton. Ngabane lucky due to COVID-19 bangikhipha ngoJuly. So bangikhipha ngoJuly, it was 2020. 11 years I spent almost for about 7 months in prison. Ngiemphasize kakhulu ngeprison because angahlali kakhulu eprison. But into le ngathi mangiphuma idile ngaphuma ngalo. And I sure ukuthi angiphinzi ngibuyele lapha. Up until namhla ngaphuma 2020 till to this day. Angina misconduct one from correctional service. Whatever lebe ngibalekela ngize ngophocha ngabuya ngaphenza ngayi correct, but na ama disadvantages ebekasakhona manje. Akunamuntu angathatha imparuli serious. Just like before last year masiya eBehendala eKruger and Skukuza Lodge business summit last year. I was one of labo ba deliver my speech lapho. Ngikhumbula baba emthimkhulu angibuta lapha ukuthi why ungabuyeli back to esikoleni, but bengengize ngikhona ebuyela because already sekune criminal record. Esikoleni bengene safety management and aka safety if ever unema criminal record vela is not easy ukuthi ungazucashela. Ngiphuma sona last year ngicashwa kayi-2 by 2 different employers. But I was dismissed 2 times within a space of 1 month just because of my records. Ngitbuta ngipheze ngiphendule icrime ayikaze yabamnanzi. Sometimes ngokuthi masiphumile njengoba mina ngisayeke prison manje Nosiphume maybe kuma gatherings la ngikhulela khona. Ubhlungu ukuthi ubona a parent of someone lo ahamba naye no porch. That someone they asangekho yena saka disease. Each and every time fanele ufacane nani nebantwana babo, my parents abo, my siblings abo. I had no choice ukuthi ngimove from Engodini up until to Emathafeni just because of the space. Nami lokhona khuleka because I couldn't anymore ukuthi every time mangijika khona fanele ngihlangane na someone lo ngahamba nemntwana wakhe obhuti wakhe wangabuyi lapha eKruger. So we challenge nanyalo still we challenge you. But I'm grateful because the Christian service is a loving parent. Kakhulu. Because bangifundisela okuningi. Kwanyalo operate business but ngu poultry farm. Assistwe my officials are Christian service. Ma Anthony nokuhamba naye but today akekho la nami. Ngihelpe ngayivula le business. Ngaphana ukusustain nanyalo ngikhuluma ngebusiness le irunako even nanyalo. But if ever before Kruger National Park, if ever ngayicala le business back then ngicabanga lokho bese maybe ngiya supplier for about more than 1,000 chickens maybe in a month or 2 weeks. But ngoba ignorant nokuba greedy nokufuna imali ya then there namhla ngathola kule position lengulo. Angikhona ukuphakamisa isandla sami sangala, angikhona ukuphakamisa something they have just because of the loyal lapha. Angikhona ukucasheka like imsebenzi into right because of in criminal record yakhe ngithola ku National Park. Into khuluma but ngangisoli. Corruption we each and every department icala within Tin masiphuma la seKruger National Park we knew ukuthi ma ranger angaku. Iteam bayingaki mabayi 8 the section there we knew it. But information beyidika from within that department ema ranger. Within that department yani yaka SIU because SIU nayo beyikhona nema Hawks akhona eKruger nema Soldier akhona eKruger. Almost wonke lama department akhona eKruger National Park. Ya aka saved. So information besithola viable. Nokuthi this time around maybe Mr. English akekho vacation. We knew it. Maranger beka shorter, maybe by short staffed. We knew it before songena. Sometimes this is a bus phone there. Basitshela ukuthi ningangeni le section there, ngangeni picturoscope, amba nongena ephabeni gate. Via Paben Gate uhamba nongena via to Belfast. The section there la mablo akunamuntu. Because information besithola within group lapho le department yona le yabayikwinza igade lapha. So asimangiphume prison into leso ngihonta up until namhla. Ngebantwana umntwana wami lomnyaka sona 16 first born yami. Ngaye prison ngetrial ngayalo 7 months ahlalo 7 months lo. Ngikhani last year ngamtshela ukuthi mina bengiboshiwe ngisejele. Ubhlungu ukuthi ngathi ngotshela umntwana nami noma umntwana wami seyakhona uma ubesama misbehavior bekhaya uma wakhe bamtshela ukuthi uyahlanya ufana lo baba wakho le. Manje ngihlala ejele. So it affected not only me, but the bantwana, the family yasekhaya, almost like sengisele nabo ubhuti wami. Njoba ngisho ukuthi just le lawo ngithi bengihamba nasamu, kufanele sihambe nasomeone. Kumbe baba umntwana, hambe nomntwana wakho. Siyangena eKruger, masingena eKruger. Asale. Uma asala eKruger. Singafesana njani na afterwards? Labanye baze bafuna ukuphinziselela kubani kulabo abasekhaya bathi ngoba lona ngesikhona kumenda lutho akekho nyalo wathi nesingabulali lo wakubo le cause naye uthathe wakithi eno uthathe wakithi umntwana ohamba umbulalisa le ngesibhamu sakhe bengingaboli isibhamu khabe T3 ibhamu hunting rifle angikhulumi ngama-pistol but ma-hunting rifle ngina-3 day 1 yasala mangilimala ngala yisithuna yathathwa ama-hawks enyongane yes3 ngingaboshwa ngayo 2016 from that day ngophuma prison I'm proud to say ukuthi angikaze ngangena eKruger but ngena lokhu semthethweni even though noma iKruger ingibhenile ngangifuna angaze ngongena illegal eKruger since ngiphume 2020 sengiye more than 4 times basibukele silalele ku Safari Lodge kube mnanzi nje but angiko ngena noma bangathi free ngoba September basiKruger ungena mahala abasivumela singeni sengithola wona lama benefits from correctional service ngoba nami sengimuntu lengatshintsha zange ngiphinze the very same crimes even any crime vele ngaze ngaphinze ngayena so ngikhona ngena access eKruger ne correctional service eKruger sendela ama awareness lawo men summit sometimes the service center here against wildlife rhino poaching but babe bekasachazile ngicabanga bekakhona last year eBergendal crime ngisengivala ayikase yabhadala ngiluzele okuningi kakhulu isikhathi sengiswestile siningi kakhulu maybe ngoba ngathatha effort ngafuna ngasesha ama funds ukuthi ngicedise diploma yami ka safety management nalesikhathi sengisweste from 2009 up until to 2020 it's almost about 11 years ngiweste ngetinto ukuthi ngithathe 10 step front ngithatha futhi 20 step back eKruger ngithengile mina imoto ngathenga iBM hamba ngeBM lakuzala ekhaya ishaya sunroof konke but not the wascrewa ngawo ngaBM dala amakhulu i318 engihamba ngayo but ngathi uma ngiboshe le mali yathathwa amaloya yonke nale moto konke aphuma eprison uswela even na 1 trouser but ngihambe ngespace of time is 7 months but ngathi uma ngaphuma nganalutho afanele ngicele phasi ngorigubha ngicele phasi ngifuna ibrook ngicele phasi ngifuna iBVD ngicele phasi ngifuna sicathu akubhadala ngekuzovuka ukubhadala manje ngima officials lapha eKruger lesiwabonile thina esihleli nabo nase prison ka trial labe bachamuka via makhona lese baboshiwe baba ababe nathi lapha akase kwabamnanzi ukusala umuntu omdzala asale ngenhloko mara ngena nemtimba mara within 2 weeks or 3 weeks asale ngenhloko just ne stress but umuntu bekayithola ipay yakhe lapha cabanga bakushilo lokho mmelukini labaningi la babe bachazile la program director uchazile ukuthi bayafomba basisa bakhiphe 100 rand be 20 rand bafake ngithi ku passport and so forth bekangimalini 20 rand tukwa 11,000 or 4,000 or 6,000 lo uhola ngenyanga ngabe lo 20 rand lo worth it ukuthi vele ungaze sacrifice I financial stability sakho na yabantwana only 20 rand maybe times 10 per day kuba ngileyo mali leyo and ngala kune colleague nefanele futhi ulinike kuncane the same amount ingacala la kithi yonke lento le cala ngemuntu loyi-1 athi no ubuye wesi-2 athi no ngicabanga even nala mabhoda ngakhona usini manager yonke lento le but straight ngediscipline they right ngoba kulula ukuthi ngathi uyayithatha 20 rand but bakukhiphe emsebenzini just like the manager le besebenza nawo namhla basebenza abayabathola bo 28 years net lisingathola 11 years abanye ndomnye mngane wethu wathola 104 years cabanga amathi Baba Dominic weva the highest sentence yaseKruger National Park it was 104 years over something there was the umuntu ongena apha eKruger sithole le mali abuye ngaphandle ashaya ama gangster party imali iphele noma ku 500,000 iphele within 6 months or 4 months ifast man ayikaze yabhadala ayikaze futhi yaphumelelisa umuntu si proof tsela nama fellow palma detainees nginawo yalo ayikaze yabhadala ne usekubhlungu kusibinamhla njenganamhla sikusila ispace sekusasa kuba na one of kithi la lo tholakala sejele mara beka official yiliphela into olifila into wakhumbula lamagama lakhulunywe ngisisi but uthi gcine lapho ngisana ukuthi ujika ubuyele emvusela ngobe ngenda so sifunzile sine sishile kabuhlungu ngiyangijustify ukuthi kuyakhrugamne just because of my parents amashona and so forth no uku ignorance bami ukufuna mina fast cash dani uthi kufanele ukuhamba ngusebenzele imali straight benginawo ama opportunity lamaningi kakhulu ngeke lesikole ngisayide 6 months kuphela but I decided chicha yonke lento ngangena tu kwe crime ngabulala sanenqumbe abantwana bebantu sometimes ngisimangilele ebusuku labanye ngibabona kuyifilm nje lelo siyohlala lidlala la mcondo nami for the rest of my life uthi umuntu nje uyalala ukhumbule ukuthi konje mngane amocala bamdubula straight la but ngila eceleni kwakhe wanga survive but ngakhona ukuphuma lapha ngabaleka but even the memories nanyalo soul ayabuya ke infection yabuya futhi mangimodwana yaphinza ibuye futhi seshikonje zibani wasala so konje zibani wasala so just nge petty cash ngithi petty cash cause cash leyo sifika lana la awuna plan ukuba plan nayo ivele phele at the same time njengoba papa ashilo athi whatsa 50 rand uthenga KFC ipetty cash iphela leso sikhathi but if ever bukuyimali usisebenza le planela bengeke kuthathwe le mali uthenga KFC almost every day ngiyabonga for the platform ngiyabonga for iBMA ukuthi is invite ngazi ngaphenza nesibide futhi
Right, thank you very much. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngeke nginanatele mhlawumbe ngikhulume further. I think they've said it mouthful. And all what we are praying for ukuthi bangaphindzi ba lapse uma ngabe sebacedze ama programs wabo. Kungabi naloko lesikubita ngokuthi recidivism. Bafunzile and what they've learned, I wish that it can also go across everyone who's here and even those who are not here. That crime does not pay. And if we take responsibility for our life, we won't fall into these correctional facilities or in this system. You go through courts and you end up being sentenced. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Numzana Nkosi, for rendering that item. Those are the testimonies, ladies and gentlemen, that do not necessarily need anyone to summarize. We have heard. The only issue that we didn't understand is what the DHA colleague was arrested for.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, the passport, ne?
Yeah, passport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No twice. Yeah, we didn't hear that, but thank you very much for that. Colleagues, we are left with 4 items before the concluding remarks by the DG of Home Affairs. We are going to request the organized labor to come to the podium, and I will request that all of you come so that when we invite the second one, there is no obviously need for you to come to the podium. We will start with the PSA, and that is on the basis of the criteria that we used in the previous engagement, and that is as a result, obviously, of the representations that we have at BMA, and then they will be followed by Nehau and Sapu, and the last one will be Pop Crew. You are all given 10 minutes each, so we will be but if you are able to finish before 10 minutes, we will really appreciate that. Let us get first the representative from PSA, that is Pumzile Zulu, who I believe is the provincial manager, and then our colleague from Oshoek, Frido, Shaba. So, and then from obviously Sapu is Tandi Mkize, Vice President. From Pop Crew, we have Mosadi Wamaje Mokoko, that is the first Deputy President. And obviously I've introduced our colleague from BMA. Yeah, that is it, in that order. PSA, please.
Viva colleagues, viva. Viva comrades, viva. Amandla. A special greeting to the Honorable Mayor, the Honorable Speaker for Chief Luthuli Municipality. I greet you, Program Director. Our distinguished guest, Moloeni. It is both a privilege and an honor to stand before you today on behalf of the Public Servants Association of South Africa, that is PSA, at this important gathering. As PSA, we commend the Border Management Authority and all partners for convening this critical engagement under the theme, a multi-stakeholder approach in combating fraud and corruption in the border and immigration sectors. These themes speak directly to the reality we face. Corruption is not single actor problem. It is systemic and therefore requires a united, coordinated response. As PSA, we recognize that public servants working at these borders are both the first line of defense and in some cases the most vulnerable to under pressure and exploitation. Let me be very clear. The PSA stands firmly for ethical conduct, professionalism, and accountability in the public service. However, we must also acknowledge corruption often thrived in environment where there is poor oversight, weak systems, and inadequate support for workers. Public servants are sometimes exposed to intimidation and financial pressure. This is why combating corruption must go hand in hand with strengthening systems and controls, ensure fair working conditions, promoting ethical leadership at all levels. Today's program clearly demonstrates that no single institution can fight corruption alone. We welcome the contribution from this perspective, reinforce a powerful truth. Corruption is interconnected, and so must be our response. Allow me to deal with the human cost of corruption. The session on human cost is particularly important. Behind every act of corruption, there are lives disruption, careers destroyed, families broken, and communities negatively affected. As PSA, we believe that prevention is far more powerful than punishment. We must build a culture where integrity is the norm, not the exception. As organized labor, the PSA commit to promoting ethical behavior amongst our members, supporting awareness and education initiatives, encouraging our members to support wrongdoing without fear. Workers with management strengthen integrity system. We also emphasize that workers must not only be held accountable, but also be supported and protected. A workforce that feels valued, respected, and safe is far less vulnerable to corruption. As we move towards the open forum, the pledge signing, let this not be the symbolic exercise, only let it be a renewed commitment to integrity. a practical step towards collaboration, a turning point in how we safeguard our borders. Each one of us, whether from government, law enforcement, civil society, or labor, has a role to play. In closing, the PSA reaffirms its full support for this campaign and for all efforts aimed at combating corruption, strengthening governance, protecting the credibility of public servants. Let us live here today united in purpose and committed to action, because a corruption-free border environment is not just desirable, it is essential for the future of our country. Amandla.
Amandla. Matimba. Qina msebenzi uzonqoba qina. Program Director, we see that the SAPC has vacated. We don't know whether you are sabotaging us or... And we told some special people that we are going to be on the news. Program Director, let's also have this understanding that time is a man-made concept and it can be manipulated to address this societal sketch of this magnitude, especially in the face of the institutional leaders which are here. I greet you with that understanding so that you won't sabotage me on the second note. Secondly, Program Director, I'm an Orlando Pirates fan, so we're busy celebrating. Allow me to greet the delegation from the Chief Albert Luthuli Municipality, as delegated by the Honorable Councillor Mbuso Makubane. Speaker, you are noted, and MMC, you are noted. The Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, Tate Tommy Makole. I remember we once met in the airport, but I don't think you remember. The Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael Masiapato, I greet you, sir. The Commissioner of Eswatini Anti-Corruption Unit, I greet you. The Acting Head of the SIU, in your capacity as the Chair of this forum, Tate Mahato Leheto, we are greeting you. Principals and representatives of non-governmental organizations and other government organizations, your SARS, SAPS, NPA, SANPACS, SNDF, Department of Correctional Services. Comrades and officials, I bring you warm greetings, and it's safe to say all protocols observed. I do confirm, Commissioner, that I'm truly delegated to be here. Nehao knows that I'm here. So whatever that I'm going to speak is protected. We know which legislation is that. I am Freedom Shabangu, a national shop steward and negotiator for Nehao in the PMA. Allow me to convey the following message on behalf of the gigantic union. On behalf of Nehao, the union appreciates this opportunity to participate in this fraud and anti-corruption awareness campaign stationed here at Oshoek in Mpumalanga. Chair, this campaign should not be a simple calendar event, but it should be a collective responsibility, with a reminder that integrity of our borders is a matter of national security, public trust, and economic stability. These officials here are the first line of defense. Oshoek Port of Entry, it has been alluded to, that is a gateway linking Eswatini, eventually leading straight, if you travel straight that road, you go to Mozambique. Wherein communities, businesses, be it local, regional, or international, they depend on this port. We are glad, Commissioner, that it will be redesigned. But when I came here 2009, my port commander, there were a number of designs that we didn't realize. We hope this one, it will be realized. This border is more than just a checkpoint. It is an economic and social hub. And Tate Mabuza, from a SARS perspective, we often hear that it is the largest revenue collector. Thank you to your team and your management. And let's all agree, colleagues, that with high activities, there will be pressures on systems. There will be increasing risk of fraud, bribery, and unethical conduct. This is precisely because of this magnitude of this event, to ensure that corruption cabin is embedded in our daily operations, so that our members understand the sketch. It is a fact, Chair, that corruption erodes institutional integrity, undermines the mandate entrusted to the respective state organs. It cannot be normalized. Corruption further damages the reputation of many officials who carry out their duties with honesty and dedication. When it flourishes unchecked, it creates an environment where integrity is punished, wrongdoing is rewarded. We can borrow from the recent events within the Madlanga, what is being communicated there. Equally, officials at these ports, Commissioner, they work under demanding conditions. Implementing complex legislation carries significant responsibility while protecting our national borders. They are the first line of defense. In any nation, when there is commotion, you will hear of the saying, let's close our borders so that we can control what is coming into the country. Many of these officials do so with pride and dedication, which sometimes is not recognized. We'll allude to that and other strategies that can be implemented to ensure that there's a decline, as much as Sandparks has indicated a decline in rhino poaching. Anti-corruption efforts must therefore not only focus on punishment, nor targeting only lower-level staff. What is unraveling at Madlanga Commission, senior management, they are the perpetrators. They isolate these officials when they speak out. We are glad that SARS is embarking on a journey to protect whistleblowers, because you speak, then you are sidelined. It was also, Chair, very worrying. I went through the internet to check, is SIU disciplining their very own? The speaker here, who is a corrected offender, alluded to that information is shared within your ranks. Anti-corruption efforts, colleagues, must strive to invest in building systems that support ethical conduct, strengthen accountability mechanisms, provide proper training, protect whistleblowers, and fostering a workplace culture where integrity is valued. As organized labor, we believe workers must be empowered to stand against corruption without fear of victimization. A worker who reports wrongdoing must never be isolated or penalized. It is happening, it's not reported. They must be recognized as a defender of integrity. We can also borrow from the Tembisa saga, where a whistleblower was eliminated. The fight against corruption requires strong partnerships, and we commend you, the Chair and the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, that you have a multitude of stakeholders. Government institutions, organized labor, law enforcement, civil society, we all have an oversight role to play. We are stronger when we work together. We must also acknowledge an important reality, that ethical public service must be underpinned by fair and dignified working conditions. In this regard, we call on government to give serious consideration to meaningful salary increases. This issue of ring-fencing salary adjustment to the margins of 4% doesn't talk to the multitude of the economic attributes that we are facing. And you should change in terms of that. We're glad that the Director General is here. That assists in ensuring that morale and professionalism is instilled within a workplace. Investing in workers is investing in integrity when employees feel valued and fairly compensated, where commitment, accountability, and ethical conduct are strengthened. We want to borrow 2 initiatives from the South African Revenue Services, of which we implore you, Commissioner, to adopt. You have your CFO in your midst and your other senior members. During the process of a bust in a border environment, there are pressures, Chair, you've alluded to that, that can you take this, will make your life better. And SARS has Amakwezi initiative, where during a bust, you are given incentives that you will lose, so that when you are interacting with those perpetrators, you say, I know I'm covered, Chief. The second one, Commissioner, that you alluded to of the 100 Rand, SARS went further to buy coffee. I'm directly now facing the CFO. To say in the morning or during the duration of your shift, there is a beverage nourishment. So that when someone says, Bamba, le cold drink, you said, no, it's there in the fridge. It's fine. Let's uphold the law. And we believe that the PMA will adopt such because Oshoek is very cold. Ultimately, now I'm talking to our members, the officials. Beyond policies and structures, the fight against corruption comes down to a personal choice. Each official carries the responsibility to act honestly, uphold the law, and honor the trust placed in them by the public. We want to encourage you, be at the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing. Therefore, as organized labor, we will somersault in defending you if we are sidelined in terms of observing those principles. NEHAO remains committed, Chair and Commissioner, in working with the Border Management Authority and all the stakeholders to build a culture of honesty, accountability, and professionalism across the ports. We pledge our solidarity and allegiance to you to say together, let us secure our borders for development. I thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. I would like to acknowledge the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Mike Masiapato, his Deputy Commissioners, and the entire BMA management team, the acting head of Specialized Investigating Unit, Mr. L.G. Leketo, the provincial head of the Hawks in absentia in Mpumalanga, organized labor, members of the law enforcement fraternity, from the BMA, SAPS, SARS, and cross-border agencies, community leaders, and all distinguished guests present today. Let me safely say all protocol is observed. We stand here today as the South African Policing Union, proud to be part of this important initiative. SAPO has supported this campaign since its launch at GCIS Tsedimosiso House, where this critical anti-corruption program was first introduced. Our continued support is driven by our understanding of the devastating impact corruption can have on law enforcement institutions if it is not addressed proactively and decisively. During our 2022 National Congress held in Polokwane, SAPO adopted a resolution under the theme, I quote, "The revolution against corruption, drugs, and gender-based violence start with us, the working class," close quote. This resolution provides clear directives in our fight against corruption. It reminds us that workers must never be perpetrators of corruption. Instead, we must be champions in the fight against it. Commissioner, as SAPO, we have identified a challenge that continues to contribute to corrupt activities. When allegations of corruption arise against members of the BMA or other law enforcement agencies, actions is often taken only against the officials who is alleged to have accepted the bribe. Very little attention is given to the individuals who offered the bribe in the first place. For this reason, SAPO has consistently called upon lawmakers and has made submissions to the Parliament advocating for amendments of the Criminal Procedure Act to ensure that both the corrupter and the corrupted are prosecuted. We believe that holding both parties equally accountable will serve a strong deterrent to those who seek to compromise our border guards and law enforcement officials. The reality is that corruption does not occur in isolation. It involves more than one party. In many instances, members of society play a direct role by attempting to bribe officials. Today, we therefore make a clear call to those who engage in such practices. Stop corrupting our law enforcement officers and allow BMA members to perform their duties with integrity and professionalism. SAPO would like to also commend the excellent work being done by BMA members and other law enforcement officers across the country's borders. We continue to witness significant operational successes that demonstrate their commitment to protecting South Africa. On such success was the recent drug bust at the Bay Bridge border post, where approximately 713 kilograms of the chemical used in the manufacturing of Menrex, with an estimated street value of 1 billion, was seized. This operation is a clear demonstration of the dedication and vigilance of our law enforcement personnel. We salute the members involved in this operation and all law enforcement officers who continued to resist the temptation of bribery and remain committed to doing what is right. As a trade union representing members in the law enforcement sector, we take pride in these achievements because we understand the positive impact they have in society. Every successful interception of drugs and other illicit goods help protect our communities from crime, addiction, and social harm. We further call for strengthened cooperation and collaboration amongst all law enforcement agencies operating at our borders. Through unity, information sharing, and coordinated actions, we can collectively combat corruption and other forms of organized crime more effectively. And in conclusion, Commissioner, SAPO remains firmly committed to the fight against corruption. We pledge our continued support for all initiatives aimed at protecting the integrity of our institutions and ensuring that corruption has no place within our law enforcement agencies. Together, let us continue to expose corruption, prevent corruption, and defeat corruption. I thank you.
Program Director, in my language, very moja morago ke kgosi. Let me first, Program Director, start by acknowledging
the BMA Commissioner, Dr. Michael Masiapatu. Also acknowledge the acting head of SIU, Mr. Lekheto, our councillor, Menkosi, who was welcoming us this morning. The representatives also from the NPA, I know Advocate Maponya, and from SARS, Sunpark, and DCS, and the DG from Home Affairs, and our traditional leaders, Makosi Arona, the organized labor, pop crew members, and all the members that are here, the distinguished guests, and my comrades and colleagues. And in case I might have omitted anybody, let me say also follow the cue, the ladies and gentlemen. Receive revolutionary greetings on behalf of the Police and Prison Civil Rights Union, which is Pop Crew. Program Director, allow me to firstly start to quote something from the book that we normally remember it when it's Sunday and when we are facing difficulties. It's when we start to want to go and refer and want to hear what is our Creator saying about our situations. It's not part of my speech, but after hearing what have been said by other colleagues and my sister and brothers, their testimonies, I felt that it's important to say these words that are written in the book of Proverbs 16, verse 29. It's the words of wisdom. This man says, a vicious criminal can be persuasive, enticing others to join him as partners in crime. But he leads them all down a despicable path. I am now closing the black book. Allow me, Program Director, to thank the Border Management Authority for inviting Pop Crew to participate in this important fraud and anti-corruption awareness campaign here at Oshoek Border Port. We welcome this initiative because the fight against fraud and corruption cannot be won by management directives alone. It requires the active involvement of workers, organized labor, law enforcement agencies, communities, public institutions, and all stakeholders committed to building a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Comrades and colleagues, borders are not ordinary administrative points. They are strategic points of national sovereignty, economic movement, human mobility, immigration management, customs control, regional cooperation, security screening, and public trust. What happens at the border does not remain at the border post. It affects national security, trade, migration, community safety, revenue collection, public confidence, and the reputation of the state. When a border environment is clean, professional, and efficient, it supports lawful movement, protects vulnerable people, strengthens trades, and gives meaning to the constitutional promise of a state that serves the people. But when a border environment is captured by fraud, bribery, document manipulation, smuggling networks, syndicates, or abuse of authority, the damage is far-reaching. It weakens the state, compromises honest workers, empowers criminal networks, and turns public service into a marketplace of favors. That is why Pop Crew says corruption at ports of entry must never be treated as a minor administrative problem. It is a direct attack on the integrity of the state, the dignity of honest public servants, the safety of communities, and the developmental agenda of our country. However, we must also be clear, corruption does not grow in a vacuum. It grows where systems are weak, where supervision is inconsistent, where workers are overburdened, where technology is poor, where vacancies remain unfilled, where accountability is selective, and where workers are expected to carry heavy responsibilities without sufficient protection, training, resources, and support. Our message today is therefore twofold. Firstly, every official must uphold the highest standards of integrity. No worker must sell the authority of the state for personal gain. No official must use their uniform, access card, stamp, system, password, or position to assist criminality. No official must participate in activities that compromise the security of our borders. Secondly, the employer and the state must create conditions that make ethical conduct sustainable. You cannot demand professional excellence from workers while ignoring the environment in which they work. You cannot speak about corruption without speaking about staffing levels. You cannot speak about integrity without speaking about working conditions. You cannot speak about accountability without speaking about protection for whistleblowers. You cannot speak about clean governance while workers face intimidation from syndicates and are left isolated when they refuse to cooperate with corrupt networks. So as Pop Crew, we also want to speak directly to workers at this point in time now. The uniform or official designation you carry, it's not a decoration. It is a public trust. When you are posted at a port of entry, you are not simply performing a routine duty. You are standing at the gate of the Republic. You are part of the architecture that protects sovereignty, regulates movement, supports lawful trade, and ensures that the state functions with credibility. Do not allow anyone to reduce your role to a transaction. Do not allow anyone to buy your conscience. Do not allow temporary financial temptation to destroy your career, your family, your dignity, and your freedom. Corruption may appear to offer quick relief, but its consequences are long and painful. It damages professional standing, it can lead to dismissal, it can lead to criminal prosecution, as they have said. It can destroy families. We have heard the testimonies. One corrupt act can become the beginning of a lifetime of regret. But we must also say to workers, when you are approached by corrupt individuals, report it. When you are threatened, report it. When systems are being abused, report it. When supervisors ignore risk, report it. When you observe a pattern of criminal influence, report it. POPRU will continue to defend workers against victimization, but we cannot defend corruption. We defend workers' rights, dignity, safety, and fair treatment. We do not defend criminality. Our position is principled. Protect the honest worker, expose the corrupt network, strengthen the institution, and defend the public interest. The role of organized labor in anti-corruption work is sometimes misunderstood. Some people think unions exist only to oppose management or only to defend members during disciplinary process. That is a narrow understanding of progressive trade unionism. A progressive union is not only concerned with wages and conditions of service, it is also concerned with the character of the state, the quality of public service, the safety of communities, and the moral standing of workers. Workers are not enemies of service delivery. Workers are the backbone of service delivery. They keep institutions alive even when systems are failing. They face communities, criminals, travelers, detainees, offenders, pressure groups, and daily operational risk. Workers are therefore central to building integrity within the public service. But for workers to become agents of integrity, they must be treated as partners, not suspects. Consultation must be meaningful, training must be continuous, policies must be clear, discipline must be fair, protection must be real, anti-corruption strategies must not be reduced to slogans, posters, and once-off events. They must become part of the daily culture of the institution. We therefore call on the BMA and the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum to ensure that campaigns of this nature are sustained across all ports of entry and are accompanied by practical interventions. Let there be regular engagements with unions, anonymous and protected reporting mechanism, proper feedback after reports are made, visible action against syndicates, support for workers who refuse to participate in corruption, and psychological support for officials exposed to threats, intimidation, and high-pressure environments. Corruption is not defeated only by fear of punishment. It is defeated by building a culture where ethical conduct is normal, protected, rewarded, and respected. For Pop Crew, that struggle requires us to build a culture of integrity among all officials at ports of entry, and to strengthen collaboration between the BMA, organized labor, law enforcement agencies, civil society, and communities. Protect whistleblowers and honest workers, ensure fair and transparent consequences management, address systematic weaknesses that create opportunities for corruption, expose and dismantle syndicates, and defend the dignity of public servants while demanding ethical conduct from every worker. As I conclude, let me say this clearly: Pop Crew is ready to work with the BMA and all stakeholders in strengthening ethical border management. We are ready to educate our members, mobilize for clean governance, participate in structures that build accountability, defend workers who are victimized for doing the right thing, and stand against those who betray the public trust. But we are equally ready to raise difficult questions where workers are blamed for institutional failures. We will not allow corruption to be used as a blanket label against all officials. The majority of public servants are honest workers who go to their work every day under difficult conditions, trying to serve the country. They must be supported, not demonized. They must be empowered, not abandoned. The border is a front line of the state. Those who work here are frontline defenders of lawful movement, national sovereignty, public safety, and economic order. Let us therefore protect the border by protecting its integrity. Let us protect its integrity by protecting honest workers. Let us protect honest workers by confronting both individual misconduct and the systematic conditions that enable corruption. On behalf of Pop Crew, we reaffirm our commitment to clean, accountable, people-centered, and worker-conscious border management. Let this campaign at Oshoek Border Port send a strong message. Our borders are not for sale. Public authority is not for sale. The dignity of workers is not for sale. The sovereignty of the country is not for sale. Together we must build secure borders for developmental ethical institutions, for democracy, and a public service worthy of the trust of our people. I thank you.
Thanks to Thandi Phumzile, Mosadi Wamaje, and our own official Freedom Shabangu from this port for those message of support. Key message that is coming from all of them is that they are not gonna defend anyone who is obviously involved in this corruption. I think that is the message that is directed to employees. Let us transition to the second last item that is going to be rendered by the Commissioner of the Eswatini Anti-Corruption Commission, that is Commissioner Mkhatshwa. Commissioner Mkhatshwa, you can come to the podium.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon, everyone. May I take this opportunity to observe all the protocol in the House. Firstly, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Special Investigation Unit for inviting us here today. I am pleased to share that the Eswatini Anti-Corruption Commission signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the SIU aimed at facilitating smoother collaboration. I am happy that we have started implementing this agreement, which we believe will significantly enhance our joint efforts in combating corruption at our borders. We are also pleased to hear the different agencies taking part. We do acknowledge that we need to collaborate with more agencies in the Republic of South Africa, including the BMA, which is the Border Management Authority. Today, I want to emphasize the transnational nature of corruption. It transcends borders and sectors, which means that tackling it requires collaboration from all stakeholders. Only through united efforts can we elevate the risk associated with corruption and ensure it is treated as a high-risk offense across our borders. From the perspective of Eswatini, we recognize that effective border management and immigration processes are critical in the fight against corruption. We are committed to strengthening these systems, ensuring transparency, accountability, and integrity at every point of entry and exit. Our anti-corruption initiatives are aligned with these goals. We count on each person in this room to play their part in exposing, dealing with decisively, and ultimately eradicating corruption. It is a collective responsibility that we all share, and together we can create a safer, more transparent environment for our citizens and visitors. There are certain typologies of corruption that are quite common at our borders. As my colleague, Mr. Leheto, has alluded to, together with our other speakers, these include practices where Eswatini is also experiencing similar challenges that include fraudulent national documents, that's e.g., for example, passports, national IDs, and work permits. In a bid to mitigate these, we are trying to improve domestic, regional, and international cooperation. Overall, these illicit activities threaten not only our security but also our reputation on the regional and international stage. Lastly, Eswatini has been conducting border awareness meetings with domestic partners, and through this collaboration, we will now hold these meetings jointly with yourselves. This unified approach will further strengthen our capacity to combat corruption effectively and uphold the integrity of our border management and immigration systems. In conclusion, I would like to appreciate the organizers of this gathering, and we note the multi-sector approach exhibited in this awareness-raising meeting. Eswatini has also learned practices for possible future implementation. Thank you very much.
I was trying to greet him in Eswatini, but I struggled. Thank you very much, Mnumzana, Commissioner Mkhatshwa, for those words. It is obviously comforting to learn that you have entered into some kind of a memorandum of understanding with the Special Investigative Unit so that we collectively deal with this scourge of corruption. We will be requesting our partners from Old Mutual to come to the stage or podium to give us some message of support. There are remarks that they are going to give us, or that they are going to deliver rather. And they will also share with us some of the products I believe that they offer. And then representing Old Mutual is Mr. Maxwell Dlamini, who is the regional manager for Mass Foundation Cluster. Over to you.
It's very risky to give a salesman a platform and not time him. I was given an opportunity to be a program director in one of the events, I think last month, and I learned something. I was going to introduce the pastor, so I went to whisper, "Hey, how much time must I give to you? Let me teach you something today. There's a standard time for pastors. That is why we have not written it in the program. But what is it?" Like I was under pressure for time. What is it? It's 15 minutes. That's the standard time. So what does it entail? It's 5 minutes for Mangsugu Maksugu Nyangekul. So it's 5 minutes for walking into the stage. It's 5 minutes for delivering the message. That is what the sermon, if you like. And then the last 5 minutes, can you guess what is it for? And he says that's a very important 5 minutes. That 5 minutes is for acknowledgement and appreciation of the sermon. If they don't sing as I sit down, it means the sermon. I must request for an additional time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's on a lighter note. Allow me to stand on the protocol that has been established in as far as greeting is concerned. All protocol observed. But earlier it sounded like it was a competition of who is greeting properly than the others. So I got intimidated by that competition. If I was to try and stick to my notes, I would say special greetings to the Honorable or Executive Mayor and the delegation from the municipality, the Commissioner from the Border Management Authority. I also made note that I wanted to greet the head or the acting head of the SIU, and also greet you secondly in your capacity as the chairperson in this instance, representatives from the SANPACs, GCIS, organized labor. I saw my fellow comrades yavuka lento mangibezwa bebingelela ngoamandla here. SARS representatives, correctional services, Babenkosi, I saw you, NPA representatives, and the Eswatini anti-corruption representative that just spoke to us, Home Affairs representatives. I would have said media, but I don't see them taking pictures of me. So allow me to then steal from my fellow colleagues and say, ladies and gentlemen, just to be safe. It sounds like that's the theme for today. I also want to oxygipetin and say, ladies and gentlemen, if in case I missed anyone, having listed all of these stakeholders that are here, let me introduce myself. I've been introduced. Maxwell Dlamini is my name. I look after Old Mutual in the province. Having listed all of the stakeholders that are here today, as Old Mutual, we want to say, we want you to be our clients, but we don't want to be your clients. So it's a disclaimer, ladies and gents. We don't want to be an SIU client. In my individual capacity, I don't want to. We also discourage people from being your clients, and I'm sure that's the message that we had from correctional services. So sorry if we are not fair. We want you to be our clients, but we don't want to be your clients in our individual capacity. Let me share or answer the question at what is Old Mutual role in all of this? Besides selling what we sell or what we are known for should you die. At Old Mutual, we are a responsible corporate that exists in the country, specifically in the province of Mpumalanga. So our commitment extends beyond just providing funeral policies, life covers, and so forth. We recognize that the effective border management and immigration control are critical to the stability and prosperity of our communities. A secure border is not only essential for the national security, but it's also vital for sustainable economic growth. I'll give you one example. If it is not properly managed, we run a risk of letting Maxwell cross a border to Eswatini without proper checks. If Max is not properly checked, health-wise, documents-wise, and so forth, we run a risk of Max taking infectious disease, as an example, to a different community. And you will understand from the insurance point of view that most of us exist to cover that type of risk. So we have vested interest in how the borders are managed. That is why we are here. Corruption at the borders can severely impact our operations and obviously the broader economy. It leads to increased risks, as I have explained, higher costs. Insurance premiums are determined by risk assessments and stuff that we get exposed to. And ultimately, it affects the trust of our clients and the stakeholders. Therefore, as a responsible corporate citizen, we believe it is imperative for us to have discussions or to participate in discussions like this, because as I listened to all of the presentations, I also picked up a document where I said, which speaks about factors that promote corruption. One of them is point number 7, living beyond our means as individuals. And that is the integral part of my message today. As Old Mutual, we have been speaking since this morning. I paid attention. The famous note in terms of money is the 100 rand. Most of the speakers spoke about the 100 rand. And we compromise our career and the salaries because of the 100 rand for the lunch or the KFC. And the message around living beyond our means as one of the things that encourages people to end up committing fraud or associating themselves with such can be solutioned at Old Mutual. If you are short of 100 rand and you are an Old Mutual client, we've got things such as rewards, which you can convert into the 100 rand if you are well educated. So collectively, we still have a responsibility of speaking to the employees as they get appointed, in preaching the verse of living within our means, and continuous engagements with people like ourselves to teach employees about what we refer to as financial literacy. Financial literacy, if it was a subject as I went to primary and the high school, I wouldn't have committed some of the debts that I've taken. We are living in the society where siabuga, even the fellow colleagues at work, fail to budget and prioritize the basic needs in each and every day. That becomes one of the reasons why people end up being tempted. Yes, as the comrades say, there would be issues of salary increase here and there, but in the school of thought that I come from, if you can't use 100 rand correctly, even if you get 100,000, you will still not use it correctly in terms of prioritizing what are the important needs. My first loan when I started working, I took it to go and bury my aunt who had no funeral. And because I was already working for a finance industry, I was expected to have taken a cover for that particular person. So ladies and gentlemen, we are here as Old Mutual to pledge our support in the initiative because we've got vested interest in the effectiveness that comes from these engagements. I believe I just took the 5 minutes from the 15 minutes of the pastor and we saved the 10 minutes because you didn't sing. And I'm sure you are also not going to sing as I sit down. Thank you, Program Charity, and back to you.
Siyabonga Mnumzana Maxwell Dlamini. The next, which is the second last item, is us committing to certain statements. So we are going to request Commandant Mukwena to put that pledge here. We will start by the members of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. Ntate Lekgetho will lead us. We will need to have a roving mic so that he can speak and read that. After he has read, obviously he will sign, Commissioner DG, and obviously other members will follow. We want to assign only 10 minutes to do this so that we are able then to find time which is sufficient to have closing remarks and also go and have some lunch. We were told that lunch will be ready by 1:30. So let us comply with those kind of guidelines. Ntate Lekgetho, maybe you can lead with Commissioner and the DGs and obviously the Speaker, the MMCs and the colleagues from Correctional Service, they can also join you.
Colleagues, it is now time to read the pledge. It is not a complicated matter. I hope the signing thing is ready. We will be led from a signing perspective by the chairperson of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, that is Ntate Lekgetho. So he is going to sign immediately after one has just read the pledge. So colleagues, the pledge reads as follows: Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. And of course it says that as a forum we pledge to root out corruption. The BMIACF pledges to serve all its stakeholders with integrity and take steps to ensure South African ports of entry are free from corruption. So to achieve this, we will collaborate and coordinate stakeholders to stamp out fraud and corruption from the work of integrated border law enforcement and protect the integrity or the identity of all whistleblowers. We will share data among BMIACF members to ensure reported corruption activities are timelessly dealt with. We'll also foster public trust in the work of the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. We call upon all our officials to abstain from corrupt activities, encourage all travelers to act with integrity in all their dealings with officials at all our ports of entry. And we also adopt a zero-tolerance stance to fraud and corruption. Therefore, the BMIACF, that is the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum, is committed to the highest standard of ethical conduct as contained in the relevant laws of the Republic of South Africa. And on that basis, the key executive members or management of the BMIACF are therefore to sign the pledge and of course to make sure that indeed they are not necessarily to be corrupted. So on that basis, let's start with the chairperson, that is Ndatele Kgetho. Let's see how effective his signature looks like. So after that, we will then have the DG, Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, that is DG Makode, who is also signing, being a member of the platform itself. Let's also have the MMC coming through to sign, obviously demonstrating that even as a municipality, they are part of the ecosystem and they are very much supportive of the ecosystem. Let's have the Chief from Correctional Services also coming through to sign into the ecosystem. So sorted, that's okay. So let me also check, the international. So the commissioner there from Eswatini is also signing to demonstrate the support in as far as this process is concerned. So let's also have the Deputy Commissioner for Operations from the department, from the Border Management Authority signing also to demonstrate that as the colleagues are running operations, there won't be any issues. And I suppose you have signed them, of course? I'm signed. Oh, you did? Oh, that's okay. So let's have this other field also signing, colleagues. To also confirm that we are working together in this very chain. That's great. So I think, colleagues, for completion purposes, let's have all the 4 representatives from Labour to also come and sign the pledge. They are doing that on behalf of their entire membership in the ecosystem. Let's start with SAPU in the ecosystem. The president is going there. We are also going to check how the signature looks like. But I think the most important thing is to make sure that all SAPU membership is indeed represented there. Let's have Popcro coming through. That is also appreciated there. The president is signing. Let's have the big chief. This is the local one. So he was giving us the biggest problems when we were starting with BMA. This is Freedom Shabangu, the popular chief. Can we have madam? Yeah, so, come left. So that is serious stuff. So, no, we appreciate, madam. Thank you very much. So, colleagues, that is the essence. Oh, sir, yeah. So, so madam, I wanted you to come through. Oh, madam was trying to strategically disappear. Oh, speak. No, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. So colleagues, you can now come, obviously, as you come through to sign, SARS is coming, and of course, the advocate. This one, he takes you to the green overalls, and the orange ones. That's okay. So colleagues, I know. All mutualists here. So we are sorted. So colleagues, let's sign as we complete the value chain. Let me give them back to the chair there to finalize the conversation. I think the colleagues want to take medication now, I understand. So they need to get some course.
No, thank you very much, Commissioner, for bringing the next item. We will put the pledge that side so that in the event that you want to sign, you are able to go that side and sign. We are going to have one last item, which is obviously the closing remarks. We will be requesting you to take your seat so that we can then finalize and conclude on the formalities in this marquee. So the item is going to be rendered by the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, that is Mr. Kumi Makode. DG.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Dr. Nkubiseni Lubengo. And I think at the outset, let me thank you for a wonderful task that you performed. And I'm not sure it's because it's that time for performance management. The bar was elevated a bit, Commissioner. So thank you so much for steering the ship. The acting mayor of the Chief Albert Luthuli Municipality, MMC SP Nkosi, the Speaker, and a number of councillors that have joined us. Now this municipality for us is crucial, MMC. I'm also told you're MMC for economic development. So this redevelopment of the port, which forms part of the 6 that we will be redeveloping at a cost of 12.5 billion, and I know in certain quarters there are those that are eyeing this 12 billion with a hawk's eye. But we trust in you that you'll make sure that our processes, we stick to them. So let me thank you, Acting Mayor, and really solicit your support for the project. The Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner have been having meetings. We meet every Monday and Friday in the evening to take stock of this project because we are of the view that it's quite important for job creation in this area, but also for the country. The good news is that we've already appointed service providers or preferred bidders, as we call them, or in the language of Dr. Masiapato. So let me thank you, Commissioner Masiapato, for your remarks. And thank you again for making sure that we adhere to this schedule of having these meetings, the Border Management and Immigration Anti-Corruption Forum. And again, let me thank the acting head of the SIU and chair of the Border Management and Anti-Corruption Forum, Ntate Lekgetho. I truly appreciate your insightful remarks. Now, those that might be looking at his stature and think he won't get me. He's been at it, I must tell you, for more than 25 years. Started with the Scorpions. That was dissolved after, or in another town where Masiapato is from. So Ntate Lekgetho will find you wherever you are. Cabinet spokesperson as well, Ntate Baloy, because he's also studied geospatial studies. Now, geospatial studies means you look at the lay of the land, you are able to see where these people are. So he's quite a skilled investigator. Let me thank Ntate Maponya from the NPA, because you are crucial in the work that we do. It's an ecosystem, as colleagues were saying. And if the ecosystem is not functioning properly, we'll not be able to have the desired impacts. And I think the stars for the day, colleagues. Let me thank the colleagues that spoke earlier on. Umuzi Mdluli, I hope you have not left. Or you're still there. And I think it's a signal that you have this opportunity that you have seized now, which, of course, circumstances force us into some of these things. And I really want you to continue with the message that you have been sharing, in particular with young people, with our own officials, and the team at Kruger National Park. And I hope Dr. Fundi will find those people that share the information. With his support, of course, he will be able to tell us, because he was supposed to have gone for 11 years. So he's out early. He's only served 7 months. So the others have been waived, Babunkosi, so that he then works with you to make sure that we put those that are in the wrong behind bars. So let me thank Sun Parks as well for your remarks. And then the colleagues from SARS, Metsebeletso Sermani, the work that you do as SARS, and you have had testimonies that were shared by Hlengiwe. And I hope we will track the others. And as you said, we must follow the money, as the colleague said earlier on as well. And let me thank my own official, former official, Nhlanhla Matebula. And I suppose once you have learned your lessons, Home Affairs will also look at providing you with another opportunity in life. Because as they say, in life, there's no dustbin for human beings. We must always value it. And let me thank our own provincial manager, Dalisa Jele, the provincial manager for Home Affairs, right here. And of course, we are honored by your presence, Commissioner from Eswatini, Babum Kachwa, from the Eswatini Anti-Corruption Commission. But it shows the collaboration in terms of trans-border crimes. And as we know, crime knows no nationality. It flows across. So our social partners, and I think it's important that I refer to them by their names because they are quite important. From Pop Crew, Me Mukokong, thank you very much for your remarks. And I think we do take to heart that don't only look at the lower levels. And as you correctly said, Madlanga Commission is indicative that all levels are exposed to these kind of activities. Meta Ndimkize from Sapu, from Neau, Freedom, Shabangu. We truly appreciate your comments. And from the PSA, Pumzile Zulu. The good thing is, right at the beginning of the 7th administration, Commissioner Masiapata, the current Minister of Home Affairs had an engagement with Labour, and these issues were articulated. At that meeting, we received support from Labour that you will walk the path with us. And I'm truly appreciative of the fact that you have been with us throughout. So let me also thank the regional manager for All Mutual, Mr. Maxwell Dlamini, and the colleagues from Home Affairs, the BMA, SNDF, SAPS. But allow me, colleagues, as we conclude today's program, I'm wearing my other hat as chairperson of the JCPS cluster. It's really to express our appreciation to all stakeholders for your meaningful contributions today at this awareness session. And I think these engagements have confirmed for me two things. One is that corruption within the border and immigration environment, it's not just an administrative challenge. It should not be dismissed as an administrative challenge. The President said it's a direct threat to our national security. And some of the inmates confirmed that. It's a direct threat to our economic development. The money that Hlengiwe spoke about, that the fiscus lost. It's a direct threat to the rule of law. We've heard throughout this morning how corruption enables, from the testimony that Hlengiwe shared, illicit trade. The illicit economy is taking a lot from SARS. Activities around human trafficking, environmental crimes that Dr. Fundi spoke about. You would have picked up a new trend, particularly in East Africa, where Chinese nationals are being arrested now for smuggling out of that country ants, the small ants that you see, but specific ants that are only found And I think it has reminded us as well about the human cost of corruption. I think the colleagues that are inmates shared with us how they've lost contact with families, how kids that were privileged through incentives that are provided by government are now back to where they should not have been. But also the lost opportunities that colleagues would have had, the damaged reputations, shared and shattered lives. So colleagues, our deliberations today are really taking place at a critical moment in the Republic of South Africa. We're battling with issues around migration. It's a very complex issue at a global level. Last night you all saw what has been happening in Belfast. Not here in Mpumalanga. Belfast, in the United Kingdom. Around the same, the issues are the same. The issues are the same. It's really around fighting for scarce resources. And no doubt about it, this issue is becoming a pressing issue for our country. And many citizens have raised concerns about border security. And the Vice President of POPCRO says, we are provided an opportunity to secure our borders. Not just securing them, but for border development. How do we then develop the country if there's malfeasance, if there's corruption at our ports of entry? But it also puts pressure, we know, on public services, on clinics, on health, and so on and so forth, but also access to economic opportunities. The President spoke on Sunday and spoke about the legitimate concerns of South Africans. You can't dismiss them. We met last week on Tuesday with all those protesters, March and March, Soil of Africa, and we had been meeting with them when we were drafting the new white paper on citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection. They support that process. They support the white paper. In all the meetings that we have had in all the provinces, they were there to support this new white paper because they've hoped that the white paper will address some of the challenges that we currently are facing. And the President has said these concerns must be addressed. And it starts here at a local level. If the municipality is not providing a service, if the province is not providing a service, you're bound to have these social tensions.